Hello, allies around the world. I am Brandon Jones. I'm joined by Daniel Bloodworth. Where are you? Hi, Blood.
Hello, does everybody hear me?
I hope everybody hires you. If people don't hear you, we got to start over. We're having issues.
Okay.
Hey, everyone. I'm, again, Brandon Jones. That is Daniel Bloodworth. There are tiny corners of the Discord camera that you can see, but I don't care. We're just going to roll with it. This is the Easy Allies Community Showcase. This is our $10 and above tier on patreon.com/Easy Allies. If you're just hearing of this and you're like, oh, hey, I want to get in that showcase, it's too late for this month. For March of 2021. If you want to get into our April showcase, here's how you can. You can go to patreon.com/Easy Allies. You can be a part of that $10 tier, and then a week before the end of the month, I'll put up the post, and then you can send us a comment, which I will read, and Daniel and I will discuss, a drawing, a photograph, a screenshot, some possible voiceover clips. No voiceover clips this month. Moment of silence. All right. And some music or some video, or if you are so inclined, because we didn't do voiceover for a while, you can think of potentially your own type of thing. Again, you're rolling the dice there. If you're just like, I'm going to mail you a puppet. Like, no, there's not a lot. We're not accepting mail,
No
in
mail.
the COVID era.
But,
No mail.
paper mache, if you want to have
it-
video of a paper mache.
Yeah, again, that tends to fit into the photograph category. We do have some Legos. Some Legos that I apparently didn't show last month, which is a bummer because they came up and I was like, oh yes, the Christmas Carol Legos and the Mandalorian ship, and then nope, for Jones's eyes only, and they did not make it actually into the showcase. I finished my lunch seconds before we went live, so apologies for these burps here. But yeah, so we're gonna do them in that order. I'm gonna read a bunch of comments, and then for the mass media, we are gonna get into drawings. And then screenshots, which I love, get some more looks at Star Citizen and Animal Crossing, and then we'll get into some music, some photographs, and then some music, and then finally a bunch of videos from our friends, our other fellow content creators around the internet. Kicking it off with James Davey. Greetings, Brandon and Blood. When it comes to a Blood community showcase, there's one thing we got to discuss. Racing games. I'm a little surprised Dirt 5 got completely snubbed from the EZA GOTY Awards. I know racing games seem to be less and less significant unless they have some outlandish gameplay hook, but I find it to be superbly enjoyable. Why no Dirt 5, Glenn? No nuts.
I mean, we don't really have
the genre, but
a category for it, for one. I mean, racing game category is something like I feel like I haven't, been able to dive into enough of the games to really flesh it out, even though I think there are enough games out there to flesh it out. But there's also Dirt 5 was a very strange situation for me in a number of ways. And Codemasters has this knack of the past, 5 years now, where they will release games at the absolute worst timing for
sure.
me.
Right.
And Dirt 5...
Which at this point is just frankly inconsiderate. It's just not... Come
on. Dirt 5 hit me right in the middle of next gen, and... I
move Blood over.
I'm moving.
Yeah, see, now I'm looking at you.
And so I had all of these weird situations come up with the game where I was like playing a fair amount of it on the Xbox Series X, and then they're telling me like, "Oh, hey, Dirt 5's not available on Series X yet," and I'm like, "I've been playing it for a week. What are you talking about?" And it turned out that I was actually playing the Xbox One version, even though the metadata in the file said it was the Series X version. I'm like, okay, and then I got to this point where like I had been juggling all of these things at the same time, and I realized that like by the time I get this review out, it's gonna be 6 weeks late, and so I'm just gonna let it go from here. And I was also having like weird conflicted feelings about it, like there's certain things that just were like not hitting me as well as I wanted to, even though I really like that team. And so, yeah, it was a mixture of weird things and just not being as into it as I wanted to be.
Damiani gets into the meta of video games. You get into the metadata. You're going even further. Getting into the code behind the code. I gravitate toward the arcade-style racing games, and although Dirt 5 doesn't shake the series' foundations and the drifting isn't as smooth as I found it to be in Dirt 3, I consider Dirt 5 to be just what was needed to bring a fresh, accessible, and breezy racer to the forefront of the genre. Here's the summary for the review I wrote for the Xbox Tavern. Quote, "The king is back. Dirt returns with aplomb and a triumph." Oh, I'm sorry. What am I doing? I'm getting all cheeky here. I gotta get my review voice ready. The king is back. Dirt returns with aplomb in a triumphant new entry that packs in as much substance as it does style. Visually, Dirt 5 is spectacular, one of the best looking and astounding racing games out there, managing to get up close and give Forza's rear bumper a fearless bonk. On track, Dirt 5 is excessively nimble and controllably twitchy, making races a sheer spectacle and a sheer delight at the same time, featuring engaging tussles for position, only being matched by the array of exciting events on offer. Playgrounds give avid dirt lovers the ability to create their own tracks and share them with the community, which will undoubtedly add plenty of surprising challenges for those who want to spend time with it. Dirt 5 is superb and will quench the thirst of anybody who believes racing games have become too sim-heavy and boring. Some will lament the lack of true rallying and the ostentatious Americanized presentation. But why complain when you can fully embrace the arcade richness on display here? Simply put, Dirt 5 is excellent and will leave you craving more. Now go out there and drink it up!
Chat reminding me of my own criticisms. Dirt 5 had the widest tracks in any racing game I've ever played.
Whoa!
Yeah, and then it's just I know they have their own whole like rally, variant, or side series, but it was a little off-putting to not have any representation of rally in that game. So
I remember you saying that. Recently picked up Onrush for a second time, and I really dig it, as I know Blood did when he reviewed it, yet I have a few personal hang-ups with the game. I'm not gelling with the game's Fortnite aping. Celebrations and swagger, of course, it's all in the name of craziness, but I get the sense certain choices regarding the game were unnecessary. Fuser is a game I feel went well under the radar upon release, and it's a pretty cool rhythm action game, even if its tracks can be counted on one hand. Also, what are Blood's thoughts regarding the Grid reboot?
It's another one of those Codemasters games that I wasn't able to like fully dive into. I think I played a few courses when I was testing out Stadia, but then I was so distracted by when it launched on Stadia, like all the text was super gigantic. So it's like, what is happening here?
Whoa, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that stuff displayed.
It was like the text was all like designed to be shown on for people playing mobile.
I really didn't like it much. I felt it lacked the race day vibes and the sheer excitement of motorsport that the original captured brilliantly. Me and a couple of friends have started up a video game website dubbed Game Thrashers, where we write reviews and put together debate articles. Maybe I'll germinate into a thriving website. Do either of you have any tips to increase viewership? You just keep making videos, man.
Racing games probably won't help unless you're really deep diving, because they're hard to put on thumbnails. People want to click on faces, and cars could be any game for the most part.
What's
really hard.
What's like the Vati video of racing games? Like, what's the? Is there somebody out there just
Inside Sim Racing is out there?
Who's the Jim Sterling of video game? Like, what's the who's the one person you're like, why even?
But it actually, that's another thing. From the little bit of time I did put in that Grid, what was weird was I got deja vu. It was like I was on tracks that I'd already raced before in previous Grid games. I'm like, what is happening here? I've seen this. I've done this before.
Can we just have one show? Doesn't even have to be a good show. Doesn't have to be very long. It could be a minute and a half. Barely longer than the pre-rolls. It's just so we can make the thumbnails of all of us that's like the whole theme of the show is that it's just us being crazy. And you're like, yeah, they make that for the thumb, but then you watch the video and like, no, we actually have googly eyes and there's a big white border around us like the whole time. And you're like, oh, this is what we just need to make more opinion yells, man.
Can't do it in quarantine. Gotta get back to the studio.
As ever, thanks for all you do. Love and respect, James Davey. Thank you, James. Caesar Villa, hello, Blood and Jones. I wanted to make something different for this month, but a combination of over-ambition, which I love, inexperience and laziness has made it possible. Man, over-ambition, inexperience, and laziness gets me every single time. I hope I can make it for next month, but in the meantime, here's my regular rambling. Again, not many credits rolled on my screens during February. Still playing the second game in the Phoenix Wright trilogy on the 3DS, and still having mixed feelings. It has some excellent parts and others that are just a slog. I don't know why the meme cracks me up, because I'm not a big Phoenix Wright fan, but what's the name of the... Look at this photograph! What's the name of that band? There's some band that's a song of theirs, and they put the singer's head on Phoenix Wright, and he's saying, "Look at this photograph." And he's only photograph out. And like Nickelback, I don't get I don't follow Nickelback. I don't play Phoenix Wright, and like, man, that meme is funny. That is, I don't know why. I saw that on Twitter and just wasn't getting the views that I thought it would. Maybe somebody was reposting it. Also still playing Overcooked 2 with the wife, trying to get 4 stars on all the stages on the DLC. Oof. Amanda and I tried that. I think in the first game we managed to get perfect scores on everything, and then in Overcooked 2 it was like, it reminds me the same thing with Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero 2, I was like, all right, here we go. I'm going to perfect this game. And then like, no, there's no way. You get into especially DLC, you get near the end. Brutal. We've been working on that game since last November, and we still can't be done with it. And to be honest, that's a good thing. The game is so much fun. Moving on, the only game I beat this month is Wario's Woods on the NES.
Whoa.
Nice Switch Online thingy. If memory doesn't fail me, this was the last Nintendo-published game on the NES on our continent. I knew of its existence, but never got to play it.
Yep. That's the same for a lot of people. Didn't get to try that till Virtual Console because it was so deep into it, like way after the Super NES came out.
That'd be a fun show, like a gen that was just like crossover. It's like what games each gen came out after the other gen had started.
Right.
Like the PS2 is still like, come on.
Well, right. And
out.
think about it. You've got the Super Nintendo, and you're playing all those sweet Super Nintendo games, and like, is the game that's going to bring you back to the NES the puzzle game starring Wario? Probably not.
Sure. Well, you can it's like Madden. You can see the difference, but it's not like one game's, unless the game was just coded poorly or released too early, but it's not like one game's playable and one game's not. Like Miles Morales on PS4, I hear plays well. So like it is easy to get that instance where like the games are recognizable, but they're not like drastically different experiences. Where like it still blows my mind that some games launched on the SNES and the NES at the same time, and you're like, whoa, this is just, they're doing stuff the other system just simply couldn't do. I was too deep into the SNES at that point to go back to my Famicom on a 5-inch black and white TV. That's a story for another time. I finally played some of it on the NES Remix for the Wii U, and while I didn't quite understand at that moment, at last I saw it moving and got a positive impression of it. This month I decided to give it a try, and oh my god, the NES Swan Song sure took the NES hard motto to heart. It starts simple enough, but after a few levels, difficulty really ramps up to the point that I started using the save state slots. In the last 10 levels, the rewind feature was the only way I could make it to the end. It's really unforgiving. Just a mistake or even a hesitation can lead to a game over. So if there are any masochists in the community, give it a try. I think that's it for gaming. If you allow me, I'll close with a random thought. I got Disney Plus for a month and started watching The Mandalorian fun series, at least the few episodes I've watched, but as soon as it started, I had this thought again. When Disney finalized the Fox buyout, there was a lot of talk about X-Men and Deadpool joining the Avengers, Simpsons characters with Mickey Mouse ears and stuff like that. The only thought I had was, can we please have the Fox logo and fanfare back at the beginning of all things Star Wars? Seriously, starting episode 7, just having silence over the Lucasfilm TD logo and the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away feels so weird. Whoa, Mandalorian obviously only has the Lucasfilm logo too. I missed the Fox fanfare playing over it as Thomas and Contact Caesar. Yeah.
It's a feel. Yep. It's a vibe.
Oh, dude, I feel like such
I have
a
a
fake
similar
fan. I never even like really thought about that.
I have a similar association with the Universal flyover logo with Jurassic Park. Because they introduced this new 3D globe at that point that was just like, whoa, like you're getting into something new here.
It's crazy to see stuff before they introduced that globe, because they've had like, the Universal logo is pretty fun, actually, the updates that they've had over the years. And like the movie itself is technologically very advanced, but then you see the Universal logo at the beginning is like, what is this? Like, what's going on? Yeah, I love Fox logos. I love all the X-Men movies where the X is lit up because it's subtle. They're not like X, it's like I like how subtle it can be. And I believe it's Alien 3. The logo stalls. It's like da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na, and then like kind of so they sustain that going into the opening credits. Cool. I think it's Alien 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm a sucker for that. I remember, as bad as the movie is, Van Helsing, from the guy who did the Mummy, at least Mummy 1 and 2, he had, when the commentary talked about how he had to fight tooth and nail to get the oldest Universal logo in front of it, because it was like an homage, a very, very poor homage, but an homage to Peter Cushing and the Van Helsings of the past. And so he's like, oh, I really want to use that Universal logo. And you can imagine the corporate, the corpse being like, no, like, that makes us look bad. And like, yeah, but that's the point. You don't get it. It's funny. But that's wild. Going back and watching those, watching episodes 7, 8, and 9. Whew, never thought about that. Luis Brown, hey, allies. So I've gotten some shitty news this month. My dad's cancer treatment no longer works. He and my family are totally heartbroken. My dad is, however, trying to put on a brave face. He has made a bucket list of things he wants to do and has asked me and my sister to do what he does not have time for. One of the things on the list was to watch us play games like when we were kids, and he watched us. So I hooked up the 64 and played some old favorites. I was lucky to still have Donkey Kong, Mario, and Zelda. So my question to you is, did your parents watch you, or were games just for you and friends/siblings? Thank you for helping me through this hard time by just being you. Much love and respect, Louise, aka Lou.bro, 1984. Love to you, Louise. Sorry to hear that. Sadly, no. My parents did not play a lot of video games. Or not even watch. Did your folks watch you play games?
Not really. My mom definitely never did. My dad was into games to an extent, and like, that's what, like, when we got the Commodore 64 and like, first playing like Legacy of the Ancients and Maniac Mansion, like that's stuff that he bought, and then I got into, and then it was like able to like really decipher a little bit more as I got a little bit older, because I was like 7 years old, at the time. And so there's a little bit of that, and then like later on, like after Eternal Darkness came out, I had that like surprising moment of like, hey, I want you to check this out, and I like I was gonna show it to him for like an hour or something, and I brought it over to his place. Like really? Like you're into
But
this.
I lost you for 2 seconds. What did he say? You dropped out for like a second. You showed it to him, and then he said
just
something.
Said keep going.
Nice. I give my parents the update. I remember L.A. Noire was one that I was like, you might get a kick out of this. I know it's before your time, but like you might get a kick out of seeing L.A. And anything open world, the Assassin's Creed games, because they travel a lot. They've been to Europe. I thought it'd be fun taking them through that stuff. Play Pac-Man a lot with my mom back in the day. I had no idea the Atari Pac-Man was like a bad version. Like we had a blast with that.
Right.
My dad had 2 infamous interruptions when my brother and I were playing video games back in our room. One time he came in as my brother was fighting Mike Tyson, was like, hey, Chris. My dad was like, my brother was like, whoa, and like got knocked out. It was like, Dad, you have no idea how hard it is to get to Tyson. Like actually try to do this. I could not even come close to Tyson. My brother was the only one who could get to it. I have no interest going back now to seeing if I can or cannot. But when I was playing one time, I think I got in trouble, or my dad wanted to know something, and I was actually just got crushed by the new Ghosts and Goblins. I was playing Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and when you press pause in Super Ghouls and Ghosts, it goes da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And my dad came in the room and was like, Brandon? And I was like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And he's like, gave me this look like, are you messing with me? And I was like, it's a game. I didn't, like, I pushed pause. I did what? But it totally seemed like I was trolling him for a second. I was like, no, I'm just playing the game.
It's funny though you mentioned that old Atari Pac-Man, because back then it's like you didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to like who made games or whatever. You just stuck them in. So like I remember like a couple years later looking through some of my cartridges and being like, wait, this Donkey Kong, like this is made by Nintendo? My Atari cartridge is made by Nintendo? And Zaxxon is a Sega game? Like what?
Whoa. And of course, Wii Sports. Wii Sports was my brother, his girlfriend, my parents, my relatives, everybody. We were all bowling. Everybody, delivery people would come over and like, dude, you want to bowl? RF Switch. Greetings, Jones and Blood. Also, shout out to chat. Just a lot of people. Lubro is in chat, and a lot of people are talking about their happy memories of gaming with their parents and spreading the love, which is good to see. Greetings, Jones and Blood from RF Switch. As I said last month, I need a break from short stories. The mix of all the horrible things that happened to me in October and January combined with writing a short story a month since August. Well done. Burned me out quite a bit. I need some time to recover. That said, I want to talk about one of the goals I made for the year, which I completed. As you may know, besides writing some mediocre stories, I make even worse art. I'm showing my drawings here, but I know I suck. I've shown my drawings here. Thank goodness. I was like, did I not get them? But I know I suck. I do want to get better. But what can I do in a small city in the middle of a pandemic without money or means to get to classes? Shout out to you for actually showing things that you've drawn. I will not show things that I draw. Obviously, I can't be the only one who feels that way, right? So I did something about it. I created the Artists Learning Collaborative Discord server. This Discord is designed to bring artists of all kinds together so we can help each other to become better at our crafts. It's not just for drawing or painting either. Categories include almost every art medium under the sun, from music to writing, cosplay to sculpting, photography, 3D modeling, performance art, etc. Because one of the best ways for everyone to get better is to work together to help each other achieve their dreams. I will post a link to the Discord under my post should any of the creative or creative aspiring allies wish to join. Patreon.com/easyallies. Click on the top post, Community Showcase. March 2021. I will make it public after the stream is over. We welcome everyone regardless of your skill level. After all, everyone has room to grow. Other than that, my legal name change paperwork has finally been filed. My initials will finally be RF, as it should be. I've slowly been writing the actual books of Themis the Cat Girl, and if my year goes well, I might make a Kickstarter for my series. Also, speaking of art, I do want to learn to write music, and I wish to work with members of the community on those song ideas later this year, like Kieran Little, Adam Henschel, and Michelle Jackson. Whew, pros. Just throwing names out there. Ooh, that's a collab. I have ideas in my head and I need to get them out. That's it for me. Now to get back to work so I can get these damn books written. Also, thank you to everyone from the Allies to Chat for helping and supporting me the past year. You have my eternal gratitude. Love, respect, RF Switch. P.S. If you think you're not hearing my voice at some point during the showcase, think again. It may have a real name drop. Oh, that's a sport. You know, I read that earlier and I was like, oh, interesting. And now I know what that means. Psh. Spoilers, man. You know, we work so hard. It's frustrating when the community spoils stuff. Man. Ayers Jones made 3. What? What did I get wrong? Psh, man. Harsh critics. Brandon Keegan. Aside from replaying some of my favorite games for the countless time, only 3 things really stood out to me for February. First, the Nintendo Direct. I'm not a Nintendo fan and have no real interest in or investment in any Nintendo franchises. The presentation was fine, could have been better, but wasn't bad. My top 2 moments were Project Triangle Strategy, which demo is still on my Switch, which I have not tried out. I watched the cutscene, which appears to be the spiritual successor of Final Fantasy Tactics in the incredibly gorgeous HD 2D style akin to Octopath Traveler. Side note, why can't you have normal names for games, Square? Story yeah, but that would be against what they did. It would be strange if they had normal names now. It would feel weird. Story premise isn't for me, but I hope it does well. And of course, the heartbreak I felt through my screen from around the world, seeing Eiji Onuma and hearing his first sentence. Man, going back and watching that reaction is brutal. It's a roller coaster. When it fades up, we're like, yeah! They're like, no. He should have literally should have his hand up, right? When it fades up, and he's like, no. Or like a shirt that says, don't get excited. Second was having the EZA forums go through our top games of 2009, a solid list with some fun games, but the second lowest participation we've had so far, and instead of having enough votes to establish the normal separated top 25, there was only enough to have a definitive group of top 20. Going through retro lists is like our version of the gen that was, and on top of that, will most likely be the last group on the internet to give our collection of the best from 2020, as more time is being given to get everything in, so that won't be for a little while. So I want to use some of my time today to give a little plea. Participation really makes these initiatives worthwhile, not just in votes, but also discussion. So if you voted before and are taking a break, or have never voted once and want to take part, check in every so often for the call for votes, because the more people, the truer the lists are. Axel does a great job, and it's always a highlight to be a part of. It's in this episode coming up. Lastly, the state of play, or rather the Final Fantasy VII celebration with a 30-minute PlayStation pre-show. Initially, I wasn't going to upgrade my copy of 7 Remake, but 2 things changed that. PS5 DLC and the upgrade being free. Which means he thought that might cost money. Did you think that could possibly cost money?
The upgrade?
The upgrade, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Boy, I didn't think about that because it's like, yeah, it's the smart play to make it free. But like, my God, the money they would make. Even if it was like $5.
Right.
It's like, that's... A lot of people are going to want to play that.
$5 for that door.
Yeah. Granted, 2 mobile games are a downer to me only because, as a platform, I've never been able to have a positive experience playing something on mobile. Mostly for technical reasons. Bummer.
They are charging for Yuffie, so I mean that's what it's
true.
Yeah.
Well, they're yeah. Well, wait, yes. So even though there will be a version of Remake you can play on PlayStation 5, that is a separate thing. You do have to buy that. And that is only available on PS5, so that costs $500 for some people. Well, I'm going to pass on First Soldier because it's Battle Royale. I'm ecstatic for Ever Crisis, since it's one game about the entire timeline, truncated of course. As I referenced last month, now that First Soldier and Ever Crisis are things, I can properly set expectations. I can't wait to bring those piping hot First Soldier reactions that nobody wants. Like, I can't wait to just go, wow, this reminds me of First Soldier. Interesting mechanics. So the ability that I use in my mercenary class. So I'll try one more time, shout out to Daft Punk, to play a mobile game whenever Crisis drops in 2022. To close with Final Fantasy VII Intergrade being June 10th, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart one day later, and Kena Bridge of Spirits pushed to August 24th, I'm finally going to try to get a PS5 around my birthday in May. Good luck. But now that I'm in the 40s, I can do it now, but it's like, oh, correct. Eric Jackson, dear Brandon and Mr. Bloodworth. Oh, very formal. I hope that you're doing well, as the gentle rollout of vaccines gives promise to a future filled with the possibility of Easy Allies in Concert 2022. All right. Mm-hmm. Although I had intended to create a video of some sort of voiceover for this week, I'm coming to you now at the tail end of Sunday, directly after 5.5 hours of straight combat from my D&D players, who were attempting to stave off a Knoll attack, and my voice is simply dead. So I shall tell you a quick story instead. I'm sorry. It reminds me of this. I had such an awful, awful thought this morning. Where I'm reading my beautiful son, who I love more than life itself. We're reading books, and he'll just go grab a book and he'll bring it over. And I just had the thought that I had the showcase today, and I was like, oh no, I hope my voice isn't dried out after reading all these books. And I'm flipping to the first page, and I just like, turned to, he doesn't know what I'm saying, but I just turned to him like, you should be paying me for this. I'm just saying, it's like some parents read their stories to their kids. It's one thing. For me, it's business. So I shall tell you a quick story instead, coming not from my poorly trained voice, but instead from the sultry chords which bring sweet nothings to our ears with each and every podcast. The way Brandon says, the gen that was, lives in my soul now. Actually, whoa, that's not me. Wait, the gen that was? I don't know if you're referring to the opening of the gen that was. That's Jessica Lynn Verdi. I couldn't be that sultry.
We all say the gen that was in the opening.
Oh, right, that's true. I guess I won out. I guess that... It doesn't say the way all of those wonderful allies say the gen that was. It's really just me that really stands out. But yes, the last one is Jessica Lynn Verdi. But yes, a story. Jordy Defective is a resident of Fairboat Island, where Box Peak has been outlawed. Unbeknownst to his parents, Jordy stows away on a ship headed for Let's Go Island. Upon arriving at the port city of Certainly City, he's mistaken as the owner of a lost box porter, which allows him to begin participating in games of Box Peak. Jordy meets and befriends CD, who teaches Jordy the basics of Box Peak. After accidentally challenging veteran player Victor Ross, voiced by Brandon Jones, Jordy's poor understanding of the rules leads to extremely aggressive play and his first Box Peak win. CD, pleased to have made a new friend, offers to continue shepherding Jordy through his nascent Box Peak adventure. If you want to find out what happens next, you're just gonna have to watch Box Peak. That's all for now. Love and respect, allies. Eric Jackson, aka Jax on Deck, in Twitch chat. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It's like when Damiani did his like Dragon Ball epic recap. I wonder how long it would take to explain the whole thing. I wonder how fast could you recap Box Peak? Jesse Blue, Black Lives Matter. Right. Hello, Jones, Bloodworth, and chat. Greetings from the Midwest. Well, it's audit season, so I didn't have time to record anything. That's a lie. I had time. I just needed the break from the stress of deadlines, including this one. I did want to say how proud I am of you all going into 5 years, having stuck together through all of this, especially after the hellhole that was 2020. Hellhole in caps, I love. I'm assuming that's a Spider-Man reference. When you guys got the studio, it was like the end of Star Wars A New Hope when everyone feels great. They blew up the Death Star and are now moving on to bigger and better things. But this past year has been like The Empire Strikes Back. So many bad things happen and our heroes are left damaged and in despair. This year will be Return of the Jedi. Chat will rally with you as you cry out for more patrons and viewers and get vaccines and make your valiant return to the studio with the 9,000 patron goal within your reach. Whoa! One day at a time. You can do it. I believe in you and I believe in us. And next month I will bring a video, not just audio. Ooh. It turns out my awesome, but see, that's a video promise there. I'm well versed in how scary those can be. So good luck, Jesse. It turns out my awesome booth, quote unquote awesome in the cupboard under the stairs has so much line noise that it would take too much electrical and soundproofing modifications to get it usable. That it's not financially or physically worth it, so I'm back to square one. Bummer. I have improved some of my sound dampening, taught myself some editing tricks, and my new recordings are a lot cleaner, but between helping my daughter get through e-learning and return to in-person school, keeping meals on the table, and having my first migraine, I hate migraines since November when I had COVID, returning to the office full-time and starting a new exercise routine, which I'm actually starting today, good luck, I've had my mind on other things besides planning and recording a showcase post. I actually have been fairly stuck to like an exercise routine for about 3 or 4 weeks now, which is good. So easy. Here's the thing. Exercise is wonderful. I recommend you all do it. It's really great. It is so easy to put off. It is so easy. Amanda's always been very driven in that way. And like, I definitely went through a couple months where I was like, after we moved, I'm like, the boxes, it's like working out, but, no, it's good to have a little routine, even if it's just walking around. Speaking of my daughter, though,
we walk around and look for coyotes.
We've only heard them. Do you see coyotes?
Yeah, we see them wandering around the neighborhood.
Whoa. You just hi coyotes. We see some rabbits when I walk Sophie at night. Sophie flips out when she sees rabbits.
So we've because we walk in the evenings, like 10 or 11ish, and so we see coyotes. We've seen a few raccoons. Skunk came like right by my feet one night. Like,
we've seen skunks, yes, and some raccoons.
But yeah,
seen. I remember I was visiting the co-founder of GameTrailers.com. I was visiting Jeff Grotz's house, and there was a raccoon that was on a fence, and we were just like, it was right next to us, and we didn't see it because we were leaving at night. And we're walking down the driveway, and then we just like hear a noise, and I'm like, is that a raccoon? And I tripped a sensor light. Like all three of us, Amanda, myself, and the raccoon, were like, it was like, oh, like we were just gonna let you pass. Sorry. Very surprised. But we've heard was one night we heard coyotes, and it was funny. Amanda and I woke up in the middle of the night. We're like, "Is that Milo?" No, that's a pack of something that are hopefully just playing. But it sounds like they may be found.
I've never seen a pack. I've only seen like one at a time, or a couple of weeks ago we saw two at once. But
scary. If anyone wants to tweet, speaking of my daughter, Lil Blue turns 16 this week on the 11th. If anyone wants to tweet me a birthday wish for her, I'm at Jessie_Blue, Blue being BLU, no E, Jessie_Blue_. And I'll show them to her, Jessie, JESSIE. She's Milidori in Animal Crossing New Horizons, so you can address them that way too. I would love to see her smile from your well wishes. Thank you, chat, for being here for me through all these tough times. We will get through this because we have each other. I love you all. And Jones, please send my love to the other allies. Take care. Love and respect. Jessie Blue. Morgan Mohala, greetings, gentlemen. I've been distracted with many things these past few months and haven't had too much inspiration for my questions. So for this month, I would appreciate just asking you to let us know how you are doing with a little more detail. If you need a framework, please indulge us as far as you feel comfortable with how things are at home, spiritually, professionally, emotionally, entertainment-wise, etc. Also because you are both men of sagacious repute. Please include any life advice you want to provide for audience members, respectively Morgan Mohala. Let's have it!
Life advice?
Yeah.
I don't think I have any life advice. I think I'm doing better about making space around not working. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm doing better about spending. It's funny though, because I'm like, it's like, okay, I've got it. I'm not working. I'm not spending time working today. And then like yesterday, I'm like, so what should I do?
Right? I mean, honestly, Blood, like my fallback right now is working on a thing, right. For work. But it's like
I've got all these like house projects that I haven't done forever.
A fun thing that I want to do, and Bravely
stuff
Default
I put off for like 2 years.
All the tech, they all kind of wind back. It's like a big Sarlacc pit. Like it just all kind of falls in to work. I had 2 wins this weekend though that I'm proud of. One of them I can gloat about because Blood is here, and yes, this is embarrassing. Yes, I should not be as proud as I am about this, but I posted the podcast this weekend with 0 errors. I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't always happen. Blood's always like, yeah, you didn't do this thing or whatever. Still got to get used to tags. That's like the main thing that I forgot. I still have not updated. Blood gave me a tag lesson. I got to get on those tags. And I also, you'll hopefully everything's going to go through. We haven't had any error messages come back. But this weekend we finished creating, we being Ian Hink, myself, and Michael Huber, our Hitman levels. Yeah. You're going to be able to play this weekend in Hitman 3. And for those that haven't heard about that, there's going to be 5 of them, hopefully, if they're all approved. But they let us make up to 5. 2 of them created by Huber, 2 created by me, 1 created by Ian. They all have, if you are familiar with Easy Allies lore, you will appreciate it. There's some descriptions, considering they all involve murder. There's some descriptions in there. I'm like, is this too much? It's like, it's like we're making sly jokes about killing people. It's a Hitman. Hopefully everybody will understand that they're done in the right context. And some of them are tricky. Mine are some of the easier ones. Mine are the first 2. Mine are not that tough, but Huber's, he made some tricky ones. But that always feels good. And when we saw that promo material come in with our name on it, that's always like a nice little shot in the arm. But also doing okay. I actually, if you want to see, here's what Morgan Walhalla wants. He wants us to get personal. I'll get personal. I am not going to therapy tomorrow. I'm not saying that people are like, don't do therapy. Again, that's just whether you start or stop therapy is completely up to between you and your therapist. But I'm good. I'm taking a week off and see how that goes. I told her, I was like, at the end of the month, we have our 5-year anniversary. We will be talking then, because I'm sure I'll be super stressed out putting all of those things together. But yeah, it feels good. Just getting back. I'll spend that hour playing Bravely Default 2, which isn't the same thing, but it's close. Harrison Holt McHale. Hello, Jones and Bloodworth. I only became a podcast producer in the last few months after a realization of my increased disposable income. If any of you have any increased disposable income out there, patreon.com/easyallies. It's $10 and you start being in the April community showcase with somebody. I got to check see who's next and message them. I do not have that ready. Apologies. I'm really enjoying it, but I realized that I never submitted to the community showcase before, so I decided to give it a go. I just finished. Harrison Holt McHale does. You do write to Love and Respect a lot, so these are names. Mm-hmm. It's tricky when you see names and somebody's like, for showcase. You're like, no, yes, I guess so. Name I'm definitely familiar with. I just finished Jedi Fallen Order the other day. What a game! Hopeful for a sequel. You lock it in. I loved watching spoiler modes after I finished games, and this was no exception. A sequel to Jedi Fallen Order is one of those things that's like, now this is a positive that EA typically only makes things that are sure things. They used to take a lot of risks. They allow like other famous people who swear at award shows to do that. But yeah, I think that made them a fair amount of cash finally. The Jedi Fallen Order spoiler mode is one of my favorites. It made me laugh when Jones started talking about how bad the Phantom Menace is, because I know this will bring me a ton of flack, but it's one of my favorites. One of your favorite whats? One of your favorite Star Wars films? One of your favorite sci-fi films? One of your favorite things in the world? I want to know. The reason being that it's one of the few times we see a Jedi living by the code and holding to it while tackling a problem. Of course, I'm talking about Qui-Gon trying to rescue Anakin and Shmi from slavery. Before we continue, I want to clarify something about Phantom Menace. I love the story of the Phantom Menace. I think you could come along, rewrite that script, recast that movie, give it another shot, and you could still pull all of that together, all of the events as they happen. But even the John Williams music is re-edited in such a... Ugh. Oh boy. Qui-Gon has the power and the ability to just take them, but he can't, because the code more or less forbids a Jedi from creating conflict where there is none. And instead, we see the infamous bed and pod racing scene play out. Even with all this, Qui-Gon is unable to free Shmi, which arguably sets off a chain reaction that contributes to Anakin's fall. We know that freeing Shmi is morally justifiable, so it really is the Jedi code that causes this domino to fall. I especially enjoy thinking about this when, post-Purge, you hear various characters talking about how the Jedi were dying, and that they were too stilted in their traditions and ceremony, because the evidence is blatantly there to support that. Plus, Duel of Fate slaps. Honestly, I've ended up catching a bit of a Star Wars bug at the moment. I've renewed my subscription to Star Wars The Old Republic. Oof. Which even at 10 years old continues to be an absolute delight to play. Where did Old Republic surface for me? Something came up. I was buying some game or signing up for something, and they were like, well, as long as you're doing this, Old Republic's right there. I'm like, no, I'm not going to create another game. What could that have been? I wonder. Which even at 10 years old continues to be an absolute delight to play. I am So happy that Old Republic is still going. Like, I love that people are playing that. And I'm eyeing up a few posters for my new office when I move houses in a couple of months' time. Hopefully that was an okay read. Thanks for everything, Harrison Holt McHale. Hell yeah. Yeah. If I do a list of the games that we talked about, I will include Star Wars: The Old Republic, Harrison. That's how good that was. All right, here we go. Axel with the aforementioned top 20 games of 2009. Hello once again from the EZA forums. In our never-ending quest to scientifically determine the best games of the year, we recently continued our trip back in time to elect our GOTY 2009. 2020 is coming soon, but since many of us still can't even get a PS5, we're giving it more time to make it fairer. You see what you're doing, Sony? Do you see? Do you see the effect that this is having around the world? Are you typing, Blood? What are you doing? Is Godzilla walking by your house? What's going on?
Oh, I was just wiping up my screen. I saw a couple of spots. Oh, and yeah, my camera's on top of it.
32 of us participated, and 76 games received at least a vote. As usual, each of us ranked their top games. The higher the rank, the more points assigned. Here is the top 20. At the end of this, Axel would like to know what our personal GOTYs are, so shout them out, Blood. Number 20, Forza Motorsport 3. Got 5 points. Right? Forza 3, right? Does that one stand out for any particular reason? Or you're just like, yeah, Forza?
What stands out with Forza Motorsport 3 is I think that's when I actually first got into that series, and maybe first, I think that might have been the first one I ever reviewed as well. And nice. With no idea what the crap I was doing with sim games.
Number 19, Halo 3 ODST. Never played ODST, but I did the Halo retrospective, so I've seen the entire game. Like, I know the story of ODST. I know all of the big, like, dramatic moments. And that was a really fun... when we usually did retrospectives, Blood, you always had to, like, crop them differently. Like, Final Fantasy was a nightmare because, like, even though it was technically 4x3, that 4x3 would move and change, and the borders would be outside of the title safe, and all these, like, it would change all the time. And I remember even Warcraft was tricky because they played on 2 different PCs, and, like, even though they went full screen on Warcraft 1, it was like, the pixels, like, were just a little bit off. Halo, the whole time we did the Halo retro, it's like, oh, it's a widescreen. It's all just beautifully, perfectly, cinematic. And so it was fun doing montages. It was fun cutting between those different games and telling the story. And it was fun trying to tell you the story of ODST without spoiling a lot of the stuff. The music is so good, and ODST is just great. Number 18, Plants vs. Zombies, baby. Home run. Yes. 7 points. Number 17, Flower. 7 points, which I've never played. Nice. Which I feel bad because I played, like, everything else they've made, I think. Number 16, Pokemon Platinum, which is wild that was 2009. Number 15, Street Fighter 4. Wow. 8 points. Tied with Pokemon Platinum for 8 points. Number 14, Left 4 Dead 2. Hell yeah, at 10 points. Number 13, Borderlands, which you played when that came out. Did you get into Borderlands later?
That. I gave it like an 8 or something like that, yeah.
So did you think when you played the first Borderlands, were you like, yeah, this is a franchise I'm probably going to stick with for a while?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there were some things I liked about it. I mean, the first one's kind of slow, particularly if you're playing single player, which, with the review set up at that time was pretty much it. It's like
no time.
It's like I played a couple of sessions with, like, Marcus or somebody, and that was about it.
Blood's like, sign me. Hey, if this gets DLC, sign me up.
It was also like there was just much less variety in that game compared to the sequel.
Number 12, Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City. Hell yes. One of the happiest I've ever been driving through a PSP game, playing a PSP game, or just like, they're like, go to that mansion. I'm like, I know where that mansion is. Number 11, Brutal Legend. You even put was it the umlaut? Is that what it's called on top of the U? Shout out to the umlaut. Number 10, Infamous, which is on,
nice.
Which, like, dude, I own because it's on PS Now and you can download it on your PS5, and I still haven't played any game in that. Second Son is one of those top PS4 games that I own. I can download.
Dude, those are great, easy platinums, and you're gonna love them, Jones.
I know. One of these days I should just do it. Speaking of one of these days, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days at number 9 with 16 points. Number 8, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is an interesting pick. I wouldn't have thought of Call of Duty would be this high. It's interesting. You
Oh, that
start to
was
learn. Now that I'm
definitely,
getting into top tens, we're learning about. Oh, of course, Modern Warfare 2 is huge. It's just
yeah.
these how many people? These 32 people specifically. We got some Call of Duty fans in there. But I love that Resident Evil 5 beat out Modern Warfare 2 at number 7. Demon Souls, right on.
Wow.
Technically tied with points, but is ahead. Number 6. Ratchet and Clank Future, A Crack in Time, just 1 point ahead, 20 points at number 5. Assassin's Creed 2, which is correct.
Very nice.
Number 39, also very good score. Got to go back to that game one of these days. Dragon Age Origins at 47 points for number 3. A game I will be playing tonight. I'll be spending 4 hours playing Batman Arkham Asylum. Got 64 points. My personal goatee, meaning Axel's personal goatee. And number 1, which probably would be my goatee, even though I love Arkham Asylum a lot, but Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, which is like the popular vote. That tends to be the more popular goatee. I think
that was
of these.
Yeah, I think that was my pick for that year. But it's funny because I'm pretty sure that year Modern Warfare 2 got it. But I wasn't actually even there for the discussion. Like I don't know if I was out for work or out for something else, but I was not available for that goatee vote. And it was like, oh, okay. Like, not Uncharted 2.
So you weren't there. I was going to say, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall just to hear Ryan Stevens scream about Demon Souls. Just be like, all of your hacks. You got like the Modern Warfare shades in the corner, like Modern Warfare 2. Like, but yeah, Uncharted 2 is a game I have not finished, but is absolutely dynamite. A few additional observations. It's the second Uncharted game to win GOTY after Uncharted 4 Thief's End in 2016. The only series to accomplish this feat. That's the sound that happens every single time an Uncharted game gets GOTY. It's the third Naughty Dog GOTY overall, though, as The Last of Us won 2013. Batman Arkham Asylum had more people voting for it than Uncharted, 23 versus 21, but only managed second place, just like Arkham City in 2011. Dragon Age Origins, Assassin's Creed 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days are all the best ranked games of their respective series so far. Honorable mentions go to Resistance Retribution, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride on DS, Killzone 2, Wii Sports Resort, who all scored 5 points and narrowly missed out. And yeah, shout out to Left 4 Dead 2. Very, very much looking forward to Back 4 Blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's this year, right?
I think it's supposed to be this year.
It looks so ready. And that's like kind of sort of beta right now. It's in like a closed kind of beta, right? Or is that soon? I don't know.
I think that they had a beta, but I don't think. Yeah, I think it's like a very short amount of time.
I'm sorry, Red Skies in chat. The Back 4 Blood is really good. Ulf himself. Hello, Jones and Blood. I don't really have anything special to write into the community showcase about this month. I usually don't have anything special to write into the community showcase about, but this month is different because something crazy happened. Last week, from when this stream aired, I got my first shot of the COVID vaccine. However, it's all thanks to a total fluke. On Friday at around 4 p.m., I went to the local exercise track for my daily jog. The track is right next door to an indoor sports arena that's been converted into a vaccination center. As I'm parking my car, I see a nurse wander around the parking lot. When I get out, she comes up to me and asks if I want to get vaccinated, like right this minute. At first, I didn't understand what she meant. I was in kind of shock. Then she explained that they get a certain amount of doses each week, and for some reason they have doses left over by the weekend. When the center is closed, they have to dispose of them. Apparently, they'd been searching for people to give the last doses to not waste anything. I was like, sure, let's go. As I was being prepped, I asked if they needed more people and said my mom lives about 15 minutes from here and she could be there in a jiffy. She said they did, so I managed to get my mom vaccinated too. They even scheduled a second dose right then, so as not to let this one go to waste. So in 9 weeks, I'll be fully vaccinated. Felt pretty lucky after that. That night, I had a slight fever, and during the day, I felt a general sluggishness, but nothing too bad. Those are common side effects, apparently. It was gone a day later. Have you guys ever had a, wow, that was a stroke of pure luck thing happen to you? My brother and my mom and my dad are all vaccinated. Meh. They're like, hey, we're going to come on over and hang out with your baby. I'm like, no, we're not vaccinated. What have you had some good luck before, Blood?
Oh my gosh. Like, I know I have stories, but I'm so terrible with blank slate. or whatever. Point blank questions.
Dave Quallen, thanks for the sub. Thanks for subs, everybody. I'm got my eye on the prize, but yeah, I couldn't even reading this before. I'm like, because there were moments where I would consider myself lucky. I got in a pretty gnarly car accident one time on the freeway, and like, I remember the insurance people called my dad later and were like, "Hey, so how's your son?" He's like, "Oh, he's fine." And they were like, "What?" Like, we saw the car. He was saying, "Are you sure he's okay?" Like, yeah. So walking away from that, I was like, thank you very much. There's some dimension, some parallel universe where I did not walk away from that car accident. But the only thing that did come to mind was I went to my brother's birthday party one time, and there was a gal named Amanda Troop there, and she hit on me, and I ignored her. I was like, "Well, I'm drinking, hanging out with my brother's friends. Whatever. Anyway, blah blah blah." And she still, I did something right, because she gave my brother's girlfriend at the time, who was still her really close friend, her number. And 3 months later, it got to me eventually. And that has worked out swimmingly since. So I did nothing. That literally, she like, yo. So I did not deserve her that day or any day since. Jason A. Sackle, PS Plus has been making it quite easy to prevent spending money on video games, aside from the whole subscription cost bit. That is, and wait, why did my PS5 randomly turn itself on? That's odd. Gonna look into that, huh? Was just typing and the thing turns... Oh, I thought that was a pun, that he was like, oh, I turned itself on and I'm playing free games now. But it literally turned itself on. It's thinking. That's odd. Gonna look into that. I was typing and the thing just turned itself on. Weird. It's like it knew I was typing about it. Anywho, I like how it turns on the TV, and there was something, my PS5 likes to do when I switch these smart TVs. When I switch to that HDMI port on my TV, it's like, oh, I'll turn the PS5 on, and the PS5 turns on. It's like, no, stop. No, easy PS5. PS5's ready to go. I don't know if any of you, for those that have PS5s at home, it's always ready. Anywho, dove into Control. Was looking forward to playing it, and it was okay. I dug the whole aesthetic, so it was okay, meaning you finished it. Boy, to get to the end of Control. Oh, well. I dug the whole aesthetic, but the characters and the story just never grasped me. Sure, they're enigmatic, I'll give you. It just all felt very tired. In fact, it took me a long time to try to even get through the game. There were parts where she says she should talk to someone, and I had zero recollection as to who those characters were, even before seeing them. Thankfully, the map highlights where the game wants me to go. Kinda. That was my major beef with the game.
I think they've made some tweaks
fixes
to the map. Yeah.
For me, the game didn't get interesting until the maze bit. That part was fun. Brutal. It's like, what? It's like,
oh my gosh.
It's like literally one of the top 10 gaming moments of that year. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I love you, Sackle. Just giving you a hard time. I know what I'm getting myself into. I wish it was more creative in that sense. Also, the main character felt kind of wooden. I wish she reacted to things more. She reacted to clocks. Those freaked her out. Learning how to essentially fly, no reaction. Sure, I don't care. She's kind of like you, Sackle. I'm just kidding. Sure, I don't care either. It's fine, I guess. For the life of me, I'm trying to recall. Yeah, I thought you and Jesse Fade would get along. A game that was quite easier to get through. The one I had fun with was Maquette. What a neat, fun little puzzle game. Had a few puzzles where I had to pause and take a lap just to get out of the mindset I was in with solving a puzzle. The soundtrack for the game was awesome. I have a few of those songs still bouncing around in my head. Between the environment and the song used in the first level, that alone got me sucked in. I sometimes just stopped to give the music a listen. I just really dug the vibe. It all felt fresh. I even went to look up what other games the developer made so I could give those a spin, but this turned out to be their first game. Looking forward to what they do next. Next on the list is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Sackle, have you not played Final Fantasy? Oh, no. Who do we have next month? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's on PlayStation Plus this month, yeah.
Oh, no.
What's interesting with what are you
Hopefully
saying
stakes are low then. Hopefully
about those songs and sitting back to listen to them. If you haven't played Maquette yet, do that. Stop and take a second to listen, because if you just keep like walking forward, you'll just cut the song off.
Oh.
So, yeah, it is like one of those things where it's a little tricky getting that pacing right.
Two things that are fun. The soundtrack to Hitman 3. Just as somebody who's played I played our level a lot. So I'm like, over time, I'm like trying on different outfits and testing out weapons and stuff like that when we were making our custom levels. And I really started to get a note of like, oh, the music starts ramping every time I put that outfit on. Like they picked a good moment because the adrenaline starts pumping when you're just like, okay, oh, I put him away. All right, I'm a guard now. Okay, I got a machine gun. And like, that's when they do a really good job ramping up the energy in that. And the main theme for Hitman is just like, yes, that's perfect. Like that's just so very Hitman-y. Oh, there was something else. Sorry. Something else we were talking about. Was it Maquette or something? Can't
You're
remember.
talking about music. Pacing.
Nope. That was the music call, but there was something else. Not a fan of the... Oh, sorry. Next on the list, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not a fan of the original, but I had been curious about this new game. While it wasn't big on the demo, that could be me just needing time with the battle system. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is cool. This will be a fun game to play. And then it really wasn't until like, I think halfway through my playthrough that I was like, got it. Okay. Yeah, like the Sackle, make sure you know and I'm just gonna be so obvious to everybody else, but I just didn't pick up on it. But like I manually inputted stuff, like literally went into the menu and told them what to do for a while before I realized like, oh, I can just hit like shortcuts, just do that. Oops. So PS Plus will give a nice opportunity to give the game a fair shot. Maybe I will actually like the characters in Remake, who knows. So yeah, PS Plus has been taking care of my gaming. There are a few games in the PS Plus collection that I also still plan to dive into. Days Gone and Persona 5. I'll get to those when I get them, though. Depends on what pops up on Plus in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot in that collection. And third-party stuff, too.
And Alex AI sneaking in with our final comment. Patreon ate Alex's comment, but he came back, put another volley in, and I got it. Apologies to anyone who got to lead it this month. Alex AI, hi, Blood and Jones. How are you today? Hopefully fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Shot a thing for the last episode of Gen that was right before this.
Nice.
Doing good.
Hopefully fine. In February, I continued my journey to beat more games. This time, the release of Dragon Quest Tact on mobile got me into a general DQ mood. I rewatched the Easy A trailer Hype Fest, where Mr. Bloodworth brought something I like to call a Dragon Quest Legacy trailer. This brought to my attention that I never beat the first two games, which I have since then remedied. There is something truly special to this franchise. To me, the overture that hits you every time you start a new adventure is like the Star Wars opening theme. It would just not feel right without it. The atmosphere that the DQ games have feel very unique, even though the games themselves are very traditional in the JRPG genre. The music is mostly silly, whimsical, and yet there are also great emotional pieces. How does Blood feel about the Dragon Quest music?
Oh, it's fantastic. If I had any kind of criticism about it, it's just that this strangeness of just being locked to those songs, and so you don't get a lot of new music that stands out, and so that can be a little bit weird. But yeah, it's all like those are genre defining classics there.
I definitely had a backwards moment where I played just so much Builders, and then I went into Builders 2, and I was like, oh, they were using a lot of these tracks. Oh.
Yeah.
And then I played 11, and I was like
30-something years, Jones. Yeah.
Okay. It's like, this Builders soundtrack is awesome.
But what is actually, though, it was pretty... it is pretty instrumental for the rise of video game concerts. Probably like a decade or more before we got anything like that in the US. Dragon Quest and ActRaiser and stuff was getting live performances in Japan.
That's awesome. I personally can't imagine a DQ game with a different music style. My current game is Bravely Default 2 on Switch, mine too, which I really enjoy. Many criticize this one as, quote, more of the same, not different enough, or it looks wrong, which I firmly disagree with. The Bravely franchise reminds me of DQ precisely because I feel it exists as an answer to the lack of old traditional Final Fantasy games. After all, it did come from the spin-off of Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light. Just like DQ, there are some smaller changes here and there so that the overall experience does not deviate too much from the Bravely formula. The main cast feels less one note than in Bravely Second, and the side characters get more stage time. I did not play Bravely Second, but I'm like 10 hours into Default 2, and it's so what I need. I don't know if there's just something about just like, oh, now I can cure people, like, oh, here's the overworld. It's like, oh, this is, yes, comfort food. The music starts slow, but turns out great. To me, it's an improvement upon Bravely Second so far. That's it for now. I wish all the allies a great March and hope we get the release date for Shin Megami Tensei 5 soon. Love and respect, Alex. And I thought the art style in Bravely Default 2 was weird, and now that I'm like into the story, it's like whatever. I don't. None of that seems weird. The only thing for me is I turned the voice acting off because it's like the conversations are so stilted. It's just like generic background, like blue screen background, and like the villain comes in like, "Hi, I'm the villain. What's up, minion?" And the minion like walks in like, "Hi," and I'm like, I don't need to hear this, like I don't need. I can read their dialogue so much faster. I've probably shaved about 40 minutes off of my playthrough so far, just being like, yep, I can read it. I'm not skipping. I'm reading the dialogue. It's just like I can hear, when it says like, "Ah, yes, our plan is complete," and he's like, "Ah, yes, our plan is cut." I'm like, no. Sorry. Shout out to voice actors around the world.
Oh my
I'm married
gosh.
to one, but for the sake of playing this game, it's not bad. It's just long. I gotta hustle. Gotta speed up those battles. Speed up those cutscenes.
Cool.
We have
We're in
moved.
between sections. I'll take a little research break.
Oh, well, fine then.
I'll
Be gone.
be right back.
All right. Hi, everybody. Well, then why did let's go back to cam so I can get. I should just have a full screen of me. So when the chair's empty over there, I can just zoom in. I should have a whole different. Jones, the living embodiment of irony. Hey, man, I watched stuff with subtitles on and audio off. Sometimes. Just that's the thing about media. You got to absorb media the way you want to do it. It's the thing with like Scorsese. Scorsese's like, "I don't like what's happening to the film industry," and it's like, Scorsese, you're not wrong. You're also powerless. Sorry, there's nothing we can do about it, man. People are gonna watch your movies at 3 times speed. People are gonna turn your work into podcasts. There's nothing you can do. Sorry. Jones, Oprah, and Meghan and Harry thoughts. It's entertaining. I like the memes. I have not actually followed that interview. A lot of the shocking revelations coming out of the interview are not very shocking to us. Did I love it like the rest of us? I'm loving the memes. But don't you like the Scottish accent of a certain Bravely Default 2 character? I don't, because I probably haven't heard it. I turned the VO off. I did it for Dragon Quest 11. I did it. I'm going to do it for anything that's not. And I love it. I love these stories and everything, but there's just there's a difference between, I tell you this, Yakuza is maybe something I wouldn't do that for a Yakuza game because there's more of an effort being put into the cutscenes. The cutscenes are me actually watching a film or television show where it's like, no, I actually need to see them reacting. I need to see the pace of this. Where again, Bravely Default 2 is like puppets. It's just like, okay, we're done with our scene. All right. And then they're off. So how am I doing today? I'm doing fine. I miss Blood. He's back. Okay. Now I'll go back to drawings. Bjornar Hurldsvik. Here is a patched drawing. Dear Jones, what happened to the Avengers team up? Great job with the podcast. Shout out to Bloodworth. I hope there can be some other team ups in the future. Please stay safe. Sincerely, Bjornar F. Joker's cap is disturbing. I know there's something about that. It's messed me up. The dark Sith with the silky voice and the unsung hero face the power of salt. I don't know, dude. Apparently, okay. So, Blood, I got an email. Stop me if this sounds familiar. I got an email from Kyle Bossman, and he said,
Okay.
"Hey, do you want to stream Avengers together?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
That's it.
Hello. Is this thing on? And that was.
I had a similar
a
text from a friend. It's like, "Hey, we should play Mario 3D World sometime." I'm like, "Cool," and then I didn't. That was it. That was the end of the conversation. Same thing.
My friends and I made a commitment because my buddies from high school, we all have Oculus Quest 2, and so we're like, all right, the second Wednesday of every month, we're gonna do it. We're gonna commit. It's gonna be VR day, and then the third Wednesday, we're like, wait a minute, did we miss? You were supposed to remind me. But I am down to play, and then I platinumed it later, and apparently Kyle got upset that I platinumed it. He was mad that I was still playing Avengers. I guess I should have stopped playing Avengers. I should have waited weeks and weeks and weeks for his response. So, Kyle, if you're out there, I've finished Hulk's character card. I'm working on Kate Bishop's now. She's a power level 102. If you want to help me, come on over anytime. Any of you want to play Avengers with me. From Ian Alexander. Yoink. Hello, Dr. Jones and Mr. Bloodworth. I've been DMing for my D&D group for a full year now. Yay! Well done. Here are 8 more images from my YouTube series, Sword Coast Adventures. Check them out. Love and respect, Ian, at Alexander_arts. Thoughts on the XP increase in Avengers? Asks Red Sky. It's dumb. It's not really going to affect me, though. But I don't... It's weird. Like, people are getting skills too fast. It's like, that's not a thing. You should hand out skills in Avengers like candy. They should hand whatever World of Warcraft does with like, oh, here, just buy for the character to be the top thing. Like you should, or here's a free one. Here's a free character of full gear and everything. Like you just hand those out. Don't make people work harder for that game. What are you doing? What are you doing? But personally, I ain't sweating it. I believe that is Strahd, which is awesome. That's a Strahd looking guy. I don't know if it's just the amulet and the red eyes and the fingernails, but that looks Strahd-esque. Just there's definitely a Huber character. Huber and Ian are apparently in this party.
Huber hasn't gotten rubber bands for his beard yet, though.
It's true. No, it's very unruly. Oh, my goodness. How cute, the samurai armor.
Yeah.
So cute.
Oh, wow. That's a cool room.
Yeah, mural, too. That's really fun. Gotta wonder. There's a story. Many, many stories behind all of these. God of War 2018 vibes. Yeah. Yes.
It's a dodo, but it's a chocobo.
It's a chocododo.
Chocododo.
That's amazing. And then, yeah. Kind of curious how they fit in. Again, there's got to be a story. The butler did it. Stephen Beaumont. The following submission was gifted to a mate and podcast host, Caden, at Zora Caviar, Z-O-R-A, and then Caviar on Twitter. I am a poor devil, and my name is Titivilus. I must each day bring my master 1,000 sacks of failings and of negligences in syllables and words. I've been playing a lot of D&D, reading a lot of Hellboy, and listening to a lot of Easy Ally, so they kind of all collided in my brain. Blood, this is so great for the thumb, but it's super vertical, so I don't think we can fit it. But I love this so much.
Oh,
this is Daniel Bloodworth is the unfortunately named devil, Titivilus, scribe of the 9 hells from D&D, who is based on the similar figure of the same name in real-world mythology. He is considered a weak devil, but bears the task of keeping track of all fiendish contracts stuck between devils and their unwitting prey. But some say he is actually sort of a hidden 10th Archduke of the 9 hells, who prefers to operate in secret, away from the prying eyes and ears of the Avernian aristocracy and their spies. Done in Clip Studio paint with a picture of Bloodworth cosplaying as Sam Porter Bridges for reference. Thank you all for keeping me sane during these insane times. It's so good. I wonder if it's just a way we can like, if I can like Photoshop and bring the feather closer to your face so you can have it. It's just, I want it in that thumb, man. That's so good. Maybe I can mess around with that after the fact. Hopefully you give me permission to mess around because it's too good. It's too good, Steven. Got to get that in there. From Chumnuan. And I didn't have time. Sorry. I didn't have time to resize these. I love to resize these because they're so much fun to go through. And you can see like the different versions of it. I think it's 2, 3, and 4, right? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's fun to like resize them just to get, because I love doing that. Getting the different takes. Hi, Blood and Jones. Just wanted to clear that last month was specifically the 30th anniversary for Street Fighter II, where she made her debut. Another drawing took time to finish since there have been more lines and details, but worth going the extra mile. Finished Wonderful 101, had a blast, haven't laughed that much at a game in a while. Sadly, they should have just adjusted it so you didn't need the second screen or some stuff like character symbols partly cut out from the screen. The game was so confusing at times because of it. Bummer. I also reached level cap in Fall Guys Season 3 with the only victory of the season and relied on a dirty trick. Grabbed them so they would get hit and fly out first though I wasn't sure what my odds were. Lastly, I want to say that I'm also sad about Japan Studio. Really loved their output, and as much as I like their other studios, Japan Studio filled other areas, types, genres their Western studios didn't. You can check out more of my stuff on my Twitter, such as Curry, that turned out great, or some game clips and more. Love and respect, Tearju Engi. Tearju, Tearjuengi, also known as Jum Nguyen. But there's also, the numbering is a little bizarre. So there's this one, but this one works out as technically a part of a larger set. So I have to move these around a little bit. So you can see all of that come together from the original sketch. Love it, dude. Oh, cool. So our Caviar's in chat. You definitely have my permission to edit the art to use in the thumbnail. I'd be honored. Nice. Or we'll just use this. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Gotta get blood as a devil in there. Too good, too good. From Master Pants. Ooh, there you are. Bing. Hey, Easy Allies. Recently I found a video game related artwork that I did on an old laptop. I'm no artist, but one night after drinking a lot of vodka, see that helps, I saw a photo on a random friend of a friend's Facebook page of some turtles, and I felt inspired. I don't have the original, but there were two turtles in the middle, with one climbing over the other. With MS Paint, they ended up being Master Chief's helmet. Oh, I can see. Yeah, there's the top of the... Yeah. Okay, cool. There's like the little web like sticking out the back.
So funny.
It's so clearly what that is. All right. Let's look at some. Look at these photographs. From KB Holmes. Hi, Blended Jones. Last month, I showed off the crochet chocobo. The crochet... I'm sorry. It's a crochet chocobo, but it should be a crochocobo. And Moogle that my wife and I had just completed. We're continuing to work on more projects, but they're not quite ready yet. So in the meantime, I wanted to share some of our initial projects from last year.
Oh, wow.
These were actually our very first two patterns we attempted after learning the basics. If only we had green yarn back then for a one-up. Looking forward to sharing some more of our crochet makes. Love and respect, KB Holmes. So there's these. There we go. These are the originals. So cute. And I kind of like that it's more of like a reddish purple than just the red. It's a nice, I don't know. It's kind of like a nice, I like the tone.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to squeeze them. I totally skipped Samo Rasman, again, who's going to be bringing us a lot of belated wishes and some awesome Star Wars Legos. Aloha, Brandon and Damiani. You're not Damiani Blood. Remember, this is from a while back. A belated Mele Kaliki Maka and Hauloi Makahiki Hu. Happy New Year. To all the allies, I'm checking in again after a long break since June of last year when I posted to the showcase last. The past bunch of months have been just bled together in a bundle of days and weeks. Unfortunately, I'm still sheltering at home following doctor's recommendations, which is feeling more like a house arrest than anything else. Still watching a bunch of TV and movies to pass the time and occasionally gaming when my hand feels good enough. One of my biggest disappointments was not being able to go to Star Wars Celebration this past August for the 40th anniversary of Empire. In lieu of anything major, I just wanted to share the Christmas present to myself for 2020. I hope that 2021 is going to be a better year for everyone, since the last was a dumpster fire for the most part. Stay safe and healthy, and mahalo nui loa for everything you do. Love and respect, Samo Rasman. And Samo Rasman is such a classy gent that they included two more images this year to make a total of 9, so still kept it at the marker, even though 'twas my fault. But I love the Christmas Carol. I just love Tiny Tim Lego is funny. It's like a sad Lego is funny to me. And then Yes Baby.
Yeah.
It may be the best shape we've ever seen that ship. Yeah. Yeah. Star Wars ships are so cool. Yeah. And then the only thing of note, this is the March update. The only thing of note I would like to cover right now is the BlizzCon Online that happened a couple weeks ago. Really hyped for the Diablo 2 remake. I spent more hours playing the game than I would care to admit in a public forum, so I can see myself sinking a lot into this one too. I just hope the rollout is better than the Warcraft 3 remake, as does everybody else. As for WoW, I finished the first raid and did most of the initial content that's available at the moment. I really like the way Death Knights look with the Necrolord Covenant armor. Pick one. Still waiting on some Overwatch 2 news, mainly for the PvE content, so we shall see. Also, I completed my last backlog Lego promo from the holidays, which is this cutie.
Oh, wow.
Quick PSA, the Disney shareholder meeting is March 9th, tomorrow from the showcase date. Yeah. So I would recommend checking it out for some Disney property news. Hopefully we get some good scoops. As always, mahalo nui loa for everything you do. Love and respect. Samuel Rosman at Namzor, Namzor, on the Twitter. If you want updates on all that stuff. What's on the bench? There's like a little book and cash money. Somebody left a cup and some cash on there. All right. Screenshots from Dougie B. G'day, Jones and Bloodworth. Once again, I'd like to indulge my photo mode obsession. Given the blood presence, it would only be right to share some shots that are bloody by nature. Most are from the visually overwhelming Ghost of Tsushima, with the sneaky Demon Soul shot making an appearance. My Instagram is at Doug's Shots, DOUGS_shots, for a cheeky plug as well. Hope you gents are well, as always. Love and respect. Yeah, this is literally just dudes getting schooled, one after the other. Just, killing that guy, killing that guy. Brutal.
Yeah.
You played Tsushima, right, Blood? Yeah, you beat Tsushima, right?
I started it. I didn't really get that far into it, but
do you see yourself as a big challenge guy? Like, are you gonna stealth into zones, or are you gonna be like, no?
I tend to like going into stealth. But yeah, I'll have to see if I get back into it.
Later on, you get the ability to like jump off a horse and attack dudes, and I was like, oh well, I'm never challenging anyone again. I'm only horse jumping from now on. That is beautiful and horrible. I wonder if that's what that guy's thinking. He's like, ouch, that hurt. Oh my god, that's beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of use of the backlighting in this.
Rough. That was for the fans. He knew the camera was over there. It's like a baseball player, like pointing to his hands. Brutal. The carnage. Wow. Which is technically an outfit. That's not like the absence of an outfit. That is actually, you unlock that outfit later on. He's been working out. And then finally, yeah.
Oh, sure.
If you know, you know. And I did a retro and then played it later, so I know. Sebastian Hall. Hello, Jonesy and Bloody. The Xeno threat is here. A clan of alien-hating fascist space pirates have come to ruin us and the whole UEE, and it's up to you to stop them. I speak, of course, of Star Citizen. This month, we had our first big real event kicking off. It all started with the film being released simply called Xenothreat, where their leader explained that it is time to stand up against the aliens in their trade deal with humanity, which is ruining our once great empire. Oh my goodness. The podcast, or the showcase, getting political. In a militia-style video, they wanted to send a clear message and declared war on everyone that did not agree with their ideologues. Now it was time for us players to call to arms and help put down the Xeno threat before it all escalated too far. The event was split up over 3 phases, released over time and increasing difficulty. Step 1 didn't do much, but Step 2 was to locate a ship in the outer rim of the Stanton system and unload their cargo and take it back to safe space. In doing so, Xenothreat started to attack us. We needed to have some players defending the ship while the rest of us docked up and unloaded the cargo. This ended up being a bit stressful, so we ended up throwing most of it in our ship and using the new gravity beam tool and getting out of there ASAP. Okay. So this makes sense now. So there, yeah, just flying around, no big deal. Oh, there's the ship. Okay, we'll get on board. There's all the stuff.
Wow.
They just. Third and final step, the big Battle. Xenothreat had brought in their big capital ship and put an end to us once and for all. Oh, to put an end to us once and for all. We called in our armada of ships. I joined our stealth team and we gathered up before quantum jumping together to the final showdown. Coming out of quantum drive, the battle was already raging. Just love the dumping it. Yes. Let's go. That's so cool. Lotiaz, I love when you show us this game. Torpedoes and lasers flying everywhere. A simple "on me" got shouted over the radio. We weaved between enemy fire as we started to engage their smaller ships. I locked onto an enemy and fired off the first of my torpedoes. A miss. Dang. My shield started taking fire, so I dove in behind our hammerhead ship just in time to hear a massive bang. The Xenothreat capital ship had fired its ray gun and cleaved the hammerhead, one of our biggest ships, in half. I swallowed hard and put my focus back in the fight. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. What if we have the hammerhead just getting completely whooped? Pew, 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 pew.
Wow.
I barely rolled away from the now destroyed hammerhead and flew in behind two enemy ships, going for one of my friends. Locked on and fired away with my torpedoes. This time I hit the enemy ship and it blew up spectacularly. Oh, I think that's the ship getting nailed. Because here's them taking it out at the end. Yeah, the rest of the enemy ship started to flee and we sent a smaller squad to chase them out of the system, whilst the rest of us returned home. And the Stanton system was once again safe. Whew. I hope you enjoyed the short story from the event. Love, respect, Lucias. I gotta admit, dude, you sell that game better than the company that makes it. You do a really good job. I defend that game so many times. So I'm like, hear me out. I know this guy named Sebastian. He likes that game a lot. This is not a game you have to sell, but at the same time, Asbo, you do a wonderful job selling it, so I appreciate that. Here we go. With another tour of Poppleton. Pew, pew, pew. Let me turn all these on. Point. All right. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I hope you're doing well and are ready for another Poppleton update. It all started when the snow finally melted. I was doing some post-thaw weeding when a strange figure walked by. Where have I seen that thing before? I followed it deep into the woods until we reached a tower I had never seen before. I don't know what I expected, but it certainly wasn't a banquet hall. The food smelled delicious, but there was something odd about the people sitting at the tables. They didn't seem to be enjoying the food they were eating, and they were unresponsive to my questions. The next floor contained a disco, but while the music was certainly a bop, everyone dancing looked unhappy and exhausted. I was starting to sense that something was wrong in this tower. At the top of the tower was a throne room occupied by a wizard dressed in black. That nose and mustache, I've seen it. Something familiar about that. I don't know. He asked why I didn't join the party like the others. I told him he should let them go. In response, he shot a lightning bolt toward me. Oh no. Dun, dun, dun. Luckily, the star I had been following pushed me out of the way, and the bolt hit the statue behind me. It exploded, leaving behind a strange flower that I grabbed without thinking. I immediately felt a surge of power, and as the wizard shot another bolt at me, I countered it with a ball of fire, defeating him. I sat exhausted from the battle as a shaft of light engulfed my star until it transformed into a queen. And as I drifted off to sleep, I heard her thank me for breaking the spell. The first thing I saw when I woke up was Patty's face. She told me everyone had been looking for me and she managed to find me because I was shouting in my sleep. I apologized for worrying her and wondered what had prompted such a strange dream. I had almost forgotten the dream altogether by the time I returned home later that evening. But when I opened my purse, I found a mysterious glowing object. I looked at it carefully in wonderment until coming to the inevitable conclusion. I could sell that for a fortune at Nook's Cranny. Anyway, that's how March started. I'm sure the rest of the month will be much calmer. Until then, Asbo Zapruder, a.k.a. Screaming Argonaut.
Wow.
You know, you always say that, Asbo. You always say next month is going to be calm. And then everything just freaks out in your town. So I'm just letting you, for your sake, just letting you know. probably won't go that way. From Austin Kruckmeyer, hello allies, it is Austin, and I'm back with more of geo-parody questions to showcase my quiz show writing. The newest set of questions are all for a group of contestants that were part of Jeff Keighley's Game Awards Week Zoom group, so most of these are relevant to Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards. I have 9 screenshots from the episode to show off, each labeled with the clue's category and value, so you can play along at home. Remember, answers should be in the form of a question. Thank you all for playing. I cannot play. I know the answers. Between last month and this month, I've actually had a community form around my app on Frank Howley's Big Dogs gaming stream. Frank Howley being of NoClip and Mega64 fame. People have been making their own episodes to host over Discord screen share for Frank and his co-host to play on stream. It's very exciting for me, and I hope other communities discover my app for themselves. You can download the app at Cowfish13, regular spelling Cowfish, COWFISCH, FISH 13.itch.io/geoparody. That's GEO and then the word parody. So Jeopardy, but parody. Thank you, and love and respect, Austin Kruckmeyer. See what they did there? So the first category is narratively simple. Remember, Blood, answers need to be in the form of a question. These are games nominated at the Game Awards for Best Narrative. Narratively simple for 400. Cowboy outlaws try to build an autonomous utopia for themselves. Narratively simple. It's nominated for Best Narrative. What game is that? What game is that? Cowboy Outlaws.
What is Red Dead Redemption 2?
Correct.
Okay. I was just getting a little confused. I'm like, wait, is this from last year? Like, what's happening?
Cowboy. Yeah, they might be from multiple Game Awards. I'm not sure. It's funny too. I like when people call them the TGAs. It's the G. It's either TGAs or the GAs. Narratively simple for 600. Broke superhero fights his former cephalopod-themed boss and mentor.
Oh, what is Spider-Man?
Correct. Woman unexpectedly becomes director of a paranormal office building after picking up a weird gun.
What is a game that Jason Sackle is not impressed with?
It's true. Correct. Oh, sorry. This is Zoom In. Guests who have appeared on Achilles' Zoom calls for 600. In 2013, Phil Spencer started his trend of wearing video game graphic t-shirts to press conferences when he wore a t-shirt featuring a logo of this Xbox and Windows exclusive zombie survival game. Exclusive to Xbox.
It's like, what is State of Decay?
Yeah. Ongoing expansions names. These are 3 names for the expansions of a specific game. So what game are these expansions from? For 2000, Skull Rain, Operation Chimera, and Shadow Legacy. Give you a hint. This game is currently played right now. You can play all those expansions right now, and this game is doing very well. Ubisoft. Think Ubisoft.
What is The Division 2?
What is Rainbow Six Siege? The final hours of, for 1600. The final hours of this game revealed that one of the prototypes for the sequel in development did not use its namesake mechanic, but another mechanic, codenamed F-Stop. Yeah, that's a tricky one. A game you very much like. One of your faves. Curious if anybody knows that one. If chat can keep up.
It's a namesake mechanic.
Tricky.
I do not know.
What is Portal 2? It's time for the Daily Double. Here come the Muppets. The Muppets had 2 TV specials with this folk country music legend who Whisper of the Heart and Fallout 76 fans might be familiar with.
Who is John Denver?
Who is John Denver? Blood? Give that man the Daily Double. I wonder how much you would have bet on that one. First, Spike TV for 1600. This Japanese TV show was the inspiration for Fall Guys and was overdubbed and shown on Spike TV as Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, or MXC.
What is Takeshi's Castle?
Yes, I would not have known that.
I would not have known that if people hadn't said it a million times.
But the thing that's so funny is we played the Takeshi game and I watched MXC like a ton. MXC was so damn funny. And I was like, yes, that's Takeshi. That's right. That's the same guy. Finally, Spike TV for 2000. This TGA staff member was formerly an associate producer on Game Trailers TV, but later became the creator of Box Peep, and is now known as the Dark Prince of Nerd Media.
Who is Cal Bossman?
Who is Kyle Bossman? Who is Cal Bossman? All right, it's time for music. You got your headphones on. We did an audio test before. Hopefully you can hear. I'm pumped about this because kicking it off, someone who thankfully shows us their talent almost every single month, Mr. Adam Henschel, who's not only going to be playing music for you today, but singing as well. Yeah! It's so good. When I saw with Adam what you were going to play, I was like, oh, is it? Oh, maybe just an instrumental version. Then listen to it like, oh, sing it away, Adam Henschel. Hey, Blood and Brandon. As you may have heard countless times, it has essentially been a calendar year since the pandemic was officially recognized. And for me, it's been hard not to think back to what my state of mind was during those first few months of spring and summer. However, one of the few things I found solace in was the music of George Harrison, most due to his ability to convey a genuine feeling of sincerity and passion within his recordings. In a period of time where everything felt completely out of my control, it was immediately therapeutic to listen to an artist who seemingly had the music and words to accommodate whatever I had on my mind. With that said, this particular song is one of my all-time favorites, so I hope you enjoyed this rendition of George Harrison's Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. Thanks for listening, and I hope everyone out there has a wonderful March. Adam.
Keep me free from birth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. Take hold of my hand, that I might understand you. Oh, won't you please, oh, won't you give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. My Lord, won't you please, oh, won't you give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth and give me hope and help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart, soul. My Lord,
That was good stuff, man. That was really, really good. Oh, man, I feel bad because I love Yellow Submarine, as I love that movie. I'm gonna rewatch it a billion times. Beale had like barely anything to do with it. It's just like it was a total different animation team. They didn't write it. They didn't voice any of the Beatles. It was 4 other dudes that did it. I think it might actually have been 2 guys. I think one guy, two different people did two different Beatles. And there's this shot at the end of the four of them, and they're like, well, that was the movie. It was just a weird Yellow Submarine movie. And like, you could tell they all don't want to be there, even for this like 30-second clip, like the very end of the movie. But they're all super not into it in their own distinct, beautiful Beatle ways. Ringo's just like, whatever, he's just kind of standing there. He's like neither happy or sad or anything. Paul's totally into it. He's the eternal showman. He's just like, oh yes, so it's an animated thing, great. John's like wacky. John's just like, okay, I'll be silly, but I have no idea what's going on. And George is not having it. George is like, there's the thing about the motor. They had to like get the motor running on the submarine, and it literally like holds it up over like Paul's shoulder, and he's like, I got the motor. And you're like, I'm sorry, George. I'm so sorry. Like, thank you for being a part of this, for letting this super goofy animated movie happen. Now you can go home, make some beautiful music. Oh boy. How long can submissions be? 3 minutes for music and stuff, and 9 images if you're going to send in drawings and photos or screenshots or anything, and 500 words, I believe, for text. Turbo Chicken Man, with technically, I don't know why I put this in the music category. It is music, but it's not. Turbo Chicken Man didn't write the song. 5th anniversary montage. Unlike the partially licensed music in my Kyle montage last year, this time it's 100% DDR original that has never been released digitally, has been cleared by YouTube. Good news, Blood.
Okay.
Totally cleared. Nothing to worry about. It represents, even sent a screenshot
of
it clearing it. Yeah, one way to find out. Boop. It represents achieving success after the fall of game trailers. Here's to the group, Milo, Amanda, Sophie, Kyle, and every friend and supporter of this jolly crew, now and into the way off future. P.S. Bit of a warning for headphone users right after the start, plus at the end. I will be watching the volume just in case.
Sweets? Come get your sweets.
Oh man. Oh yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow, I forgot about this.
What a recording. Oh man. Oh, look at that little chub. Look at that guy. First podcast and the last.
Forget the reason for that vest.
10. Nice. Yay.
Doom 64, November 22nd.
What a memory. So good.
The power going out at just that moment.
Yeah. I don't like to think about this stuff too much, Blood, but hey, Blood, you ready for that podcast? That first podcast in the studio? You ready to record a podcast together as co-moderators?
It'll be interesting going back to a space where like
Yeah.
we don't just like have a bunch of tabs open. Look, it's like, wait, what was that?
All our audio, yeah, is going to sound the same. I don't have to press record or stop. From Mason Victoria. Hi, John. See, RF, okay? I got Mason. All right. Hi, Jones and Blood. I'm doing something I thought I would never be doing by myself. I'm making a VR game for my master's thesis. It follows the story of Borf Klorgman, who has only one dream, to work on the most prestigious space station in the galaxy. The moment has finally come as Borf signs up for the first available position in centuries, Space Intern. It's silly adorable and an homage to Space Quest and Monkey Island point-and-click adventures in VR, and I can't wait to share more of it later. In the meantime, here's the main theme of the game with added synth solo for a little more fun for today's showcase. Love and respect, Mason Victoria. Yeah, I believe I've heard this before, but this might have been because it didn't make it in, or he said there was added synth solo, so maybe there's a little bit more than we've heard before. But I could always use some Borf Klorgman in my life. Take it away, Mason. This sounds like something you would play. This sounds like I could see Blood going through this world.
I mean, the name feels like an early LucasArts game, like Zack McCracken or something. I'm curious how many people in chat have even heard of Zack McCracken.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very, 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 very good stuff.
Yeah, it definitely gives me some of those vibes of like a Mario or like a Everybody Votes channel or something like that.
It's like
Mario
it's
Paint
funny
kinda
because
thing, yeah.
I know you're saying this for like an adventure game, but it's just like that. I just see jumping, man. I hear that, and that's like I got like a little laser gun, like maybe there's a spaceship level. From Kieran Little, oh boy, Caid me la falcha. Right? Caid me la falcha. It's March. Brandon and Bloodworth. The merry month. I'm sorry, that is well. We'll get to that at the end. The merry month of St. Patrick's Day. In my little corner of the world, that means seeing your friends and family, probably heading to the pub for a few pints of Guinness, and listening to the incomparable sound of Irish reels and jigs. Reels is lowercase r, jigs is capital J. Being played live from some corner of the bar, probably by an impromptu group of musicians that just met, also known as a trad session, while everyone enjoys the crake. Unfortunately, that's not the world we currently live in. Lockdown is still going strong here in Ireland, and I shall miss ringing in the 17th the usual way. In lieu of that, though, I decided I would play some Irish music of my own. There's not a lot of it in games, so I struggled, but Mario Kart 8 had me covered. Please enjoy my Celtic meets rock metal version of Moo Moo Meadows. Love and respect, Kieran, aka Mr. Coneman. P.S. Yes, I did want to hear Jones try to speak some Irish language slang. P.P.S. Caid mille falcha means 100,000 welcomes. Which I'm pretty sure I butchered. I'm pretty sure I tried. Do it.
Nice. Very nice.
Man, I tell you, there's something in all your pleasure centers of your brain. Whatever, when like a really powerful metal riff hits, whatever that corner of my brain that's punching, nothing else punches that. There's nothing comes close. It's like horror films, action movies, robots fighting. It all kind of hit around it, but nothing really hits that. Also, Kieran, you are a talented gent, but that was clearly 50cc. I mean, you were like in first place the whole time, even after a couple of hits. That was not,
wow.
I don't know. The music, I was just kind of,
I like that choice of cart, though, for the track.
Yeah. I jest. From Kevin Gillet. Hello, Jones and Blood. Yay! Mario Golf, Skyward Sword, Splatoon 3, next PlayStation VR, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Sinnoh remakes, Arceus. Anyway, look, I don't know. It was Blood's turn. And I think for his previous turns, I had some Zelda and Earthbound music. So I saw a lot of people in chat shouting out from Mason Victoria that had strong Earthbound vibes. But I also didn't want to make it heavy like last month with Bowser's Fury. So I wanted to do the weird thing and make a slow, quiet cover of an F-Zero song. It started as a quiet, dramatic orchestral piece, but then, thanks to a friend, I re-listened to the main theme for the 1969 French gangster film The Sicilian Clan. Les Clans des Siciliens, starring French cinema legends Jean Gabin, Lino Ventura, and Alain Delon. Yes, I want to hear Jones pronounce all of these. Okay, Jean Gabin, maybe? Lino Ventura, right? It's a Ventura, like regular spelling. And Alain Delon. Delon? Maybe there's no N. Alain Delon? Yes, I do want to hear Jones pronounce all of these. And scored by none other than Ennio Morricone. Or Morricone. Morricone? So it started leaning this way instead. Anyway, I hope you like how it turned out. It's Climb Up and Get the Last Chance from F-Zero-X. Love and respect, Kevin Gillet. I love the marriage of themes in this showcase musical offering. Yes. Yes. Imagine Captain Falcon being a gangster and bringing to it the same subtleties that he brings to everything else in his life. It'd be a little much.
There was a sunset in that song somewhere.
Nice. Finally, our last music track from Ben Fitter. Hey, Jones and Blood. This month, I've been working on using my piano to record MIDI instead of the auxiliary output, so I should hopefully be able to get a better, cleaner sound from now on. Anyways, to celebrate Pokemon's recent 25th anniversary and the upcoming release of new Pokemon Snap, here is a medley of some of my favorite songs from the Pokemon spin-off games over the years. Enjoy, love, and respect, Ben F. A medley from Ben. Good stuff.
sparks will fly. I thought it said sporks at first.
Yeah.
Oh, this mini game.
Ah, that's so gross. Needed sound effects on that. Needed it. Yeah. Oh, that was good. I could have had me some more of that.
Emotions.
Dude, it's hilarious to race like right to the end of an RPG. You're like, whoa, something happened here. Yeah. New Pokemon Snap very soon. Good stuff. There were some emotions in chat. Just a little bit. Just a couple people were emotional listening to that music. All right. Kicking it off. Michelle Jackson, howdy allies. A fairly simple video this month, just showing some armor options in battle. You know, Blood, you did some armor options this month, didn't you? This time with all 3 party members, including a voiced Perenelle. I wonder who's playing Perenelle. Okay. It's another reason I turned off the voice acting in Bravely Default 2, because there's a lot of this. This also takes up a lot of time.
Are you shitting me?
Oh, nice shield. Scatter shot. Nice. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Too slow to hit an old man.
Shit. Fuck.
Too slow, asshole.
Whoa.
Well, what did you expect?
Like the VO name. Ragna Firestone. you really don't realize how much swearing is involved until you start playtesting. Not enough. And certainly a cast. They can get the job done. Happy gaming. Good stuff, good stuff. Good stuff on all fronts. Happy gaming. Hello there, Blood and Jones. This last month was a little difficult for us. Throughout the course of February, Texas was hit with the historic winter storm you've probably heard about. We spent more than a week with fluctuating power and internet and no water. We weren't the worst off. Some of my girlfriend's coworkers had to bunker at their office to keep warm and be in a place where they could prepare food. Because of all of these circumstances, I was initially planning on writing a review for the month. However, in between the times we had power and when I wasn't watching my girlfriend play Breath of the Wild for the first time, I started a game called Coffee Talk. Originally, I planned on playing the game just for me. I can't say Coffee Talk any other way than that, sorry. There was something about it that left a positive impression on me. It really captures the good vibes of serving drinks in a coffee shop, but also the unique sensation of sitting next to company while enjoying a drink at one. It was a feeling I didn't realize I missed until I started the game up, with 2020 and now 2021 making the normalcy of previous years feel sort of like a distant memory. The review wasn't done with as much time as I usually give myself for others because of circumstances, and being a visual novel that takes place in a single location, it created some problems for editing. With those thoughts in mind, I'd love to hear constructive criticism for you in chat if you're down. If anyone is interested, feel free to check out my Patreon. You can watch the full review there, as well as all of my previous videos and podcasts for free. Hope everyone is doing well. Brandman, please cut the video off at 3 minutes. Oh, I will. Love and respect, Brian from Happy Gaming. It's 6:43 in case anyone's wondering the total time. God, this game, it looks cool. Such a polished aesthetic.
I grew up in Olympia. It's the capital of Washington State, but if you ask anyone who's not from around there, you typically just tell them it's just south of the city that the state is much more known for, Seattle. Regardless of the details, it's abundantly clear that the Pacific Northwest is well established for a few things. Damp streets that never dry from soft, perpetually falling rain, a Starbucks on every corner, artistic and hopeful insomniacs. You don't need to have lived in Washington to understand the state of mind and place that Coffee Talk is trying to reproduce, though. The quiet sound of rain against glass, the light clinking of china, and the smell of clean and neat warming espresso. As a person who spent years loving, making, and selling coffee, they're all things that put me at ease and make me nostalgic. They make me think of my home in and near Seattle. But as well as Coffee Talk conjures up these emotions, it's a game that does more than create memories of home. It's not just a game about selling drinks to people in an area known for its caffeinated beverages. Coffee Talk carries a deeper human understanding than what it seems on its surface, and an even greater satisfaction than simply serving a customer the correct drink. Through the sum of its parts, Coffee Talk is a reminder of the momentary comfort of simple interactions with kind and understanding people, and the forgotten feeling that comes from sitting next to them and sharing a story when the world doesn't currently allow for it. Coffee Talk is set in an alternate version of Seattle in the year 2020. The world is pretty similar to the one that we know and live in, but this version is also inhabited by fantastical and mythical creatures. These differences serve more as a reminder of how things are the same though, with reminiscent themes of racial relations and conflict, only with the added spin that it's not simply a problem faced by humans. Orcs protest for equality in the workplace. Mermaids face difficulty with border patrols preventing their immigration, and certain races simply can't be together because they pray to different gods and have different upbringings. Most of these aren't at the forefront of the game. However, their inclusion, when presented through the cast interactions, helps cement what the game is truly about. The stories of the motley crew of characters that come into the game's eponymously named coffee shop, Coffee Talk, and the feeling that the difficulties that they face are truthful. Whenever the moon comes out, you'll be making drinks while you listen to the life stories of interesting and colorful regulars as they develop relationships with each other, and with you. All of them have small, interweaving arcs that will leave you with a smile and just a little bit of introspection. Lua is a succubus, but is having difficulties coming to terms with making her relationship with her elven boyfriend Bailey's work because of the racist views both of their families share about the other. Neil is an interstellar being and is trying their best to understand the culture and mannerisms of Earth in order to fit in and find a romantic partner.
Good stuff, good stuff. There are 3 more minutes of that you can check out on Happy Gaming's Patreon and check out all of Happy Gaming's other. Thank you for, man, difficult month. You still showed up for the showcase. I'm very
What a crazy game, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's another thing, obviously I'd love to get everybody's takes on stuff, but it's, Happy Gaming is known for those deep cuts. It's like when you get those Star Citizen screenshots. It's just, you broaden your horizons. Thank you for that. From Alexander Zirianov. Hello, allies. As some of you may know, I'm making Russian and English subtitles for Easy Allies reviews. When I started doing that back in 2018, I quickly realized that with a bit of practice, making subtitles isn't actually hard or time-consuming. It was a knowledge worth sharing, so I've made a video that showed my process and submitted it to December 2018's Community Showcase. Last autumn, YouTube removed community contributions, making my previous method obsolete, so I've replaced YouTube's editor with the free offline alternative, and also reworked some production steps I wasn't happy with. Several months of usage have proved that this new pipeline is even better than the previous one, which means that it's time for another how-to video. Just like last time, I had to use intense time-lapse to fit a 50-minute video into 30 minutes, 3 minutes, but my Patreon post also has a link to full unedited capture if you want to see something in detail. A timer in the top left corner will help you find the same moment in the unedited version, and it will also show you how much time each step takes. Take it away.
Hello allies, I'm Alexander Zyanov and today I'll show you how I'm making subtitles for Easy Allies reviews. Firstly, I download review video from YouTube with JDownloader and run review script through Google Translate. Of course, the result isn't perfect, so I edit it in Notepad. I also copy original script in another Notepad for ease of reference. At this stage, my goal is to make each individual sentence as short and easy to read as possible while preserving its original meaning.
Fleshes out. That's one of those.
I also try to keep the order
Zirianovisms
of the words
that
since it makes
for.
reading easier.
Only one of us says
Once this is done, I perform spell check with Microsoft Word. If necessary, I also use search to make sure that all names and terms have consistent translation. Then I read entire script and make adjustment if consecutive sentences don't work together or if the same word is used multiple times in close proximity. Next step is creating subtitles in Subtitle Edit. My goal is to have no more than 2 lines of text at the same time while splitting sentences in the most natural places possible. To make this easier, I wrote a simple program that measures text length using YouTube's font and shows where splits can be made.
Cool!
Nice.
Like the first installment, the game begins with the player awakening from a dream.
That's
If
how I
possible,
edit.
I choose splits that matches
Look at
pauses
those
in
faces,
Jones's
Tony.
view because it makes reading easier. Also, this allows me not to be frame perfect with subtitle timing, which speeds up the process. If there is in-game viewer, then I translate it on the fly, and if I can't understand what is said, then I try to find a video featuring the same scene with subtitles. As for closing promotions, I just copy their translations from previous reviews. Final step is watching review and making last-minute checks and adjustments if necessary. Once Russian subtitles are done, I start working on English subtitles. With rare exceptions, English text is shorter than Russian text, which allows me to use the same splits to hit the 2-line limit. So I just copy-paste text and quickly check VO to make sure that I'm making splits in correct places.
And your part.
Once this is done, I'm watching review and make adjustments if something doesn't match the viewer. And that's all. As you can see, there's nothing special in the process, and once you get used to it, it doesn't take a lot of your time. So give it a try, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Bye!
Nice.
That's so cool. It's funny. What's crazy is, you know, I'm looking at all the waveforms differently, but like, man, if you can see right when I stop talking and the music, you know, picks up, it's just so very clear. Yeah, that's really fun. I can always tell if I'm talking too much or talking not enough whenever we finish a spoiler mode or a podcast or something, and I like bring in everybody's waveforms, and I'm like, oh no, like look at my track, and it's just. For our WandaVision spoiler mode, I was fairly reserved. I thought I did a good job.
Nice.
Yeah, I did not spend too much of the time talking.
But yeah, he gets through those really quickly.
Sarah Imshog, aka Sarah Knight, no comment, just the length. Take it away.
Yay. Bend the lines like that is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get wrapped up in it. I gotta be honest. I missed a couple lines at the bottom. I was like,
Yeah, there's a
It's
point
kinda
where I was like,
transfixed.
oh yeah, there's still text happening.
yeah, there's so much to look at. You know, it's
Watching,
like,
yeah.
yeah. It took me a couple seconds before I'm like, wait, the top left isn't moving because we can actually see. Whoa. But yeah, anytime there's just like, screw that leg, but this leg, like, whoa. I thought that leg looked okay. Maybe that's just me. From the Void, aka Arthur Henrique Chinaglia. There you are. Hello, Jones Blood and fellow allies. In the last showcase, I asked for Jones's and Benz's suggestions and criticism of the intro I made on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that. I made all the modifications you suggested. Haha, round 2. And to the best of my capacity, and agree they improved the intro a lot. Now, 1 month later, I have the channel up and running and started with a series of videos talking about hidden gems on the Nintendo Switch. For this community showcase, however, I prepared a teaser for an upcoming video, which will be a Mario Day special episode talking about the top 20 best obscure or underappreciated characters in the Mario universe. Hope you two, as well as the community, can appreciate the teaser, and I invite them to join the channel on YouTube. The full episode will be released on March 9th, 1 day prior to Mario Day. Thanks again. Love and respect from the Void, aka Arthur Enrique Chinaglia. And that is From the Void. That's the name of the channel. Take it away.
Did you know that Mario has saved a prince? In fact, he has saved a number of them. Yeah, that's the kind of amazing knowledge you will get from this. Want some more? Okay, here's more. Did you know that Wario, of all people, has saved not 1, but 2 princesses? And that these rescues were both completely unintentional. One of them is Merelda.
Merelda.
Yep, here she is, in all her princess glory, with her little green hat with a pon-pon. I think she's great. But you know who doesn't care about any of this? Wario, that's who. He couldn't care less about poor Princess Merelda here. He's just after the treasure. She approaches him to thank him for rescuing her, and this is what he does to her. Let's appreciate this in slow motion. Anyway, 20th place goes to Merelda.
Next!
This one is highly confidential. Did you know that Princess Daisy has a hidden sister named Azalea? Look at them side by side. Let's take a minute here and look at Daisy and Azalea side by side. They have the same taste in colors, orange, yellow, and white. Both are named after flowers, and not only that, they are both flowers that are found in these 3 colors, orange, yellow, and white. Both have the same hair color, and also same eyes, same eyebrows, same skin, same teeth, you know, etc. And still, Nintendo denies this poor girl's royalty, and even existence nowadays. Azalea is one of the characters in the Mario Golf series of games. These games were made by Camelot Software, and apparently their Japanese site once stated that Daisy is Azalea's sister, but that statement has since been deleted. What is up with that? Why have a character so similar to another and deny their relation? Find out the answer to that and much more in part 1 of the top 20 obscure or underappreciated characters in the Mario universe in the From the Void channel on YouTube. This special episode will air on March 9th, just 1 day before Mario Day, and I can't wait to see what you all think of it. Please be excited. See you soon.
So funny.
That was a good teaser.
I still gotta go through those Wario Land games someday. Someday.
Yeah. I just love a good promo, man. Gets me going. It's going to get me through the rest of the day, that promo. Alex McMillan, greetings, allies. I also did not know that. And I think Azalea, right, would be the potential pronunciation. But since they're retconning her, who knows? Greetings, allies, from Alex McMillan. In my day-to-day life, I write questions for game shows. It is a great job and one I'm lucky to have. About a year ago, I was writing for a British show called Mastermind, a very no-nonsense quiz where contestants answer questions in an ominous dark room. First on a category of their choice, then on general knowledge. The show's been running for years and usually sticks to more highbrow academic categories. However, in this series, someone had managed to select Pokemon as their specialist subject. Unfortunately, despite my requests, I didn't get to write this round in full. I did, however, get to write a couple questions, and whilst writing, I recalled a certain Easy Allies video, Kyle Bossman's list of the top 10 most underappreciated Pokemon. I thought it would be funny to write a question about what EZA had deemed the most unloved Pokemon of all time, Swalot, and have included it in a mainstream British TV show. I thought about the idea of an elderly grandmother talking with her grandchild, finding out that they were into Pokemon, and based her knowledge off just seeing this program and saying, ah yes, that's the thing with Swalot in it, right, sweetie? In the end, the question got used, and this is, I believe, the first mention of Swalot outside of anime and television history. Truly a great legacy. I've also attached a video of the full round if you're interested. Love and respect, Alex McMillan, Northern Ireland. Okay. Now, some people are nervous, Blood, because this is BBC that we are about to show. This is 16 seconds. I think we can get away with it. Just 16
no
seconds.
idea. We'll find out.
There's no songs or anything. It's a dude in a chair talking about Pokemon. I think we're fine.
Sure.
Alex Millen, this is such an achievement for you that I'm willing to roll the dice on this. I think we'll be okay.
Which poison-type Pokemon that evolves from Gulpin spurts toxic fluid from its pores when it spots prey? Once the prey is weakened, the Pokemon gulps it down a hole in its cavernous mouth.
Swallowed.
Yeah. Which renowned...
Just knows it. Just knows it right away. No thinking. Doesn't have a second guess. Wow.
Swallow. Just the smirk, like just waiting for.
Will you stop asking the question so I can answer it, please?
Out of respect, I will wait until you stop talking about things you're not familiar with. Oh, are you finished? Okay, swallow it. I love it so much. Good. Joseph Caruso, what do you think of when someone mentions the instrument, the recorder? If you're like me, growing up in the US in the 90s, you probably only think of it as a cheap plastic instrument used to teach children how to play music. Well, one of my friends recently mentioned that he can play the recorder, but I thought, yeah, so most people learn to play the recorder in middle school. He's a music major and can play the piano quite well, often playing video game tunes for me that he has taught himself. But I still didn't believe that he could play the recorder with skill. So he played me about a minute's worth of music from Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy VII, and The Witcher 3. Please enjoy, and perhaps you'll be just as stunned as myself hearing someone play a recorder with finesse instead of expecting to hear a child attempt to play Hot Cross Buns for the 10th time.
Final Fantasy?
Dude, that's pretty good.
You can do a little. Do some like Cosmo Canyon. Try to remember how it goes. There, so there's Care Mornington, Witcher.
It was so good. I loved just the waiting for the next match to start as well.
Jones, I don't know if they did this when you were in elementary school, but for us, like it was like a rite of passage. Like everybody had to play the Star Wars theme on the recorder.
Oh,
like
nice.
Yeah, you couldn't get away from it.
I love this from Eric. It might be okay. The last name is Waugh, which is probably Waugh, Eric Waugh.
Sure.
But I can't help. I want to call him Eric Waugh. Hello, Jones and Blood. After following you guys since the Game Trailers days, I finally became a patron this month. Thank you very much. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, finally committed to doing so. I joined the Community Showcase tier because, write this down, Blood, I wanted to be able to show the allies in the EZA community the game I've been working on with a team of 15 other students, and we are here for those plugs. I have been working on a game called To Hell With It, which is a third-person hack-and-slash game where you play as Ayala, who finds herself battling through Hell's more obscure realms in a down-the-rabbit-hole style adventure to retrieve her stolen cat. We took a lot of inspiration from games like Darksiders 2 and the classic God of War games to give some context of what kind of gaming, what type of game we were trying to make. I'm really proud of the work our team has done with the game in the past 7 months, and I hope you'll enjoy this little gameplay clip I'm submitting this month. We are ramping up towards our release next month on Steam. For anyone in the community who wants to keep up with the game, you can follow us at Wimpy Imp Games on Twitter. That's regular spelling, Wimpy, W-I-M-P-Y, Imp, I-M-P, Games, all one word, Wimpy Imp Games on Twitter. Love and respect, Eric. Yes,
yo, this environment. Stuff. The environment it reminds me of like if you crossed Splatoon with Psychonauts.
I was gonna say like the town of Splatoon's gone bad. Yeah, spice him up, mess him up.
Meek.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I catch what this weapon is.
It's a mystical blade of some type.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of it looks like coral vibes a little bit. Maybe some seaweed. Oh yeah, pick up all that. Yeah. Oh, so gratifying. Oh. Oh no! Nice. I got a lock on. Nice.
Nice.
Yes, the slashing is very, very good, but man, anytime any currency just explodes. I appreciate it. Chris Park with a disappointing proclamation, I got to admit. Chinese New Year has just passed, so here's all the Chinese heroic spirits that I can show, because I'm not a whale. This was from Grand Fate, I believe the game is, a mobile game that Chris Park is giving us updates on. I was kind of hoping you were a whale, Chris Park. I'm a little upset. I was hoping you were single-handedly keeping this game afloat. And that's where all these crazy characters were coming from. But the cavalcade of weird characters and weird abilities does not stop. Take it away, Chris Park. Fate Grand Order, okay.
もう楽になれば地獄が楽にしてあげるわ。滅びの定めのすら見放された我が永遠の洞窟。哀れみの涙で命を呪え。
我は覇王にあらずただ歴史を開くための時の歯車ゆえに阻めば蹴散らすのみぞ。我が槍はこれまさに一撃必到。真相と謳われたこの槍に一切の矛盾なし。
耐えられねえぞ、おい。
陣中に呂布、馬中に関と、今や一つ。ミテーションゴッドフォース。
我が顔をそれほど望むか。ならば見せよう。呪われし顔を儚く散るまで歌い続けるために。
天と地の狭間にて人はかくあるべしとここに新たなるノリを敷く。
ここより己の死は恐れず生も求めずただ殺めるのみ。いざや舞い守りて踊り打ちかかりてはことびきましょう。継承ウイ気力レディ。
Take that, random
この
skeleton!
辺りが頃合いですか。まさかまさかの企画一陣。不自由な決断です。わかりますね。
お、マスターですね。と消費祭の身なれと、この信頼には全てを捧げましょう。無欲にして忠義の歌、ここにと悪を打ち払う。せい、勝利です。マスターが喜んでくれるなら何よりです。
Man, I'm hooked. I cannot get enough of that crazy.
Seeing like some of those arrow ones, it just like makes me imagine like just a slight alteration to where like they'd actually shoot the arrow into space and like hit like an asteroid, and then they pull the asteroid down onto the enemy.
Yeah. You hit me with another planet, and I swear I'm going to lose it. From Nick Gothic. Hello, everyone. I made another video again, and I'm once again appalled that I can't speak normal English. Nick, I love your accent. I love it. I feed on it. It's really, really good stuff. You are a very charming fella. I want to make a video series where I talk about my top 20 favorite games. A lot of them retro, a lot of them eccentric. For this batch, we talk about the bottommost 5 spots. I wanted to do 10 of them this month, but it broke my 3-minute time limit, so this will probably be a 3-parter. I'll see you for part 2 in April. Nick Gothic at Clown Boss.
Hello Brandon, hello Blood. I'm in a busy place in life right now and I can't show any of my artwork, so I thought I'd just talk about random topics that I like to fill the time. So I thought, hey, why not talk about my favourite video games? I mean a top 20, and for this month I want to talk about the first half of the list. But first, I want to give some honourable mentions. Snatcher, Psychonauts, Lego Island, Super Meat Boy, Comic Zone, GTA London, Commander Keen, Need for Speed 3. Pour one out for these brave soldiers who are caught in the crossfire. Now, let's get to it. Number 20, Phoenix. An obscure Galaxian clone that holds a deep sadness for me. A touching piano ballad plays as you're shooting mystical firebirds from outer space to death. You can hear the anguish in their cries. Number 19, Sid Meier's Pirates. Deeply captivating game about ship logistics and career choices. One of the few games that truly feel like a historical adventure. The way you could just mingle in the Caribbean, being either a pirate or a privateer and just working for various clients of various nationalities is just amazing. Number 18, Keyboard Drumset Fucking Werewolf. Wow. This is a music video / game that you can beat in 3 minutes, but the exhilaration and the aggressive fuck-all punk attitude it has synergizes so well with the frustrating gameplay, and it makes me go wild like no other game. Number 17, A Mind Forever Voyaging. This is a very trippy Infocom text adventure. Basically, you're like HAL 9000, except you're a good guy. You play as a supercomputer that has been simulated and taught to have a human-like life experience in the Matrix, never being aware it is a computer, and was used by researchers to simulate the effects of the future of the 21st century where it gradually decays into an apocalypse by 2070. If you lived for the past 4 years in America, it can feel like an incredibly eerie experience. Number 16, Jazz Punk. Nice. I love games that are funny, and I love all the 60s Cold War vibes, the cheesy Soul Bass callouts, the Hunter S. Thompson references, and in general I'm a fan of games that don't take themselves too seriously. It's a laugh and a riot. That's all for today right now. Love and respect.
Nice.
Love it. I'm excited for the rest of that series. I love that stuff. Yeah. And it's fun. I love that, like, all those were obscure, but there was someone else like, oh, totally. And others like, what in the world? That music video one? What in the heck?
Right.
We had the hands, and you were like jumping through. Wild. With our final submission from John Wingate. Wingaticus here. Hi, Brandon and Blood and chat. So I started a YouTube channel called Gameplay Dismay, where we do anime movie reviews, regular movie reviews, and some game playthroughs. Also streaming on Twitch as Gameplay Dismay, all one word, regular spelling. Mostly Neo 2, Demon Souls, and Destiny 2. Was hoping you guys would scroll through my channel and check what I got so far. For a nice short clip, you could go to GPD, plays Demon Souls Part 3, and start at 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thanks, love, and respect. Well, that's what I did. Yeah, here we go. Cool, collect.
Gotta love a good buff fire. poison or something? Yeah.
Solid. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ooh. Come on. Why? Interesting. I bet they patched that out. You can just quit out. 20-second buffer or something, or you're frozen. Well, I got him.
Look out, Beauchart.
This is not an area I would want to be fighting people in.
Sure, yeah. Why not?
So bad. Oof. Oh boy.
Nice dodge, nice dodge. Nice.
Oh, it's so close. Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Close.
Really made it. Thought that was gonna be a double KO.
Shakes it off, you know.
Now it's for sure black sparkles.
Well done, well done, well done. Right at 3 too. And there we go. A shout out to Megan Linhart, who did post hold and a smiley face, but we did not get a comment from Meg. And David Cleland, who just wrote sorry. That was David's post. Apparently, David did something that he felt he needed to apologize for in the last showcase. I believe it was just a comment because I did not find any videos or tunes submitted by you, David. And I honestly do not remember what you. That's the thing about the showcase. You think you're shocking us. Sackle thinks he's got us every single month with that really spicy video game take. But the allies won't be around for another 4 or 5 months. Blood won't be back until later in 2021. I will have a different ally. I do not have that person on the list. I don't believe we figured out who that was going to be in April. But I will get that name to all of you as soon as humanly possible. Can we rate Kyle? Is Kyle streaming right now? Sure.
Yeah, he's definitely streaming right now.
Oh, it's totally rate Kyle.
I'll totally check and see if we had a...
Once again, while Blood checks that, this was the Easy Allies Community Showcase. This is our $10 and above tier. You don't think we got what? You know what?
I don't think we have somebody scheduled already.
Oh, great. Okay. I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to patreon.com/easyallies, and I am making this post public for everybody. Yay! So, yay. So it's public, so everybody can check that out. What you want to do is go to patreon.com/easyallies, go to Community Showcase. It's one of our tabs on the top of all the different types of shows that we can do. The very latest will be Community Showcase for March 2021. And you can see all of the wonderful posts that were from all of these people. You can check out all their different channels. You can check out Mason Victoria's SoundCloud. You can check out Gameplay Dismay. You can check out YouTube channels, and you can also go check out, if you enjoyed Michelle Jackson's game, we've been getting those updates for a very long time. So if you want to go back and check out the progress, see all of that come together, rock out to some other Kevin Goulet tunes, and otherwise be as impressed with we are with the creative offerings from our wonderful community. Thank you to everybody that is a patron of Easy Allies, especially thank you to everybody that is not only at the $10 and above tier, but that everyone contributed this month and prior months to the Community Showcase. And a super huge shout out to Daniel Bloodworth. Yay! for being on the
We might
showcase
have
this
missed
month.
Beating Down Brian's video.
Did you miss Beating Down Brian? Okay, let's go back. I don't think I did, but let's go back. I literally just closed it, but... All right. I go back through, just like Santa Claus. I make a list and I check it twice, but... Let's see if we can find it. And do that one super quick. I'll take my own advice. I'll click on the community showcase thing. There it is. Can't miss Beat Down Brian. Okay. No. How's it go? There it is. Strange. Very strange. Hold on a second. Gonna grab it while Blog talks to himself.
Hello, I'm talking to myself. How am I today?
Grab the video. Grab it.
Grab it. I put up Brad's archives before this, so you can watch all of Resident Evil 0, or you can watch the second part of Jack and Daxter.
Nice.
Which Brad played for the first time. I watched a little bit of that yesterday.
Probably doesn't need too many episodes of that. That's not a super
Yeah, it
long
was just
game.
two streams.
Classic. Sorry, Brian. Slipping through the cracks.
Oh yeah, I started watching through the MCU last night.
Nice.
First two movies down.
Yeah, we got Guardians down, so we got Ultron coming up next, which is perfectly timed, being done with WandaVision. It's going to be fun to go back to all of that up.
Yeah.
No, man. No, Brian, it's my fault for skipping it.
But yeah, it's funny because, you know, I looked through, because I knew, like, the gaps got bigger as we got, you know, more recent. But I thought I had seen that Incredible Hulk movie, and we got a few minutes into that. I'm like, no, I've never seen this in my life. One of the earlier Hulks.
Blood, you're going to be glad we went back for this, too. This is also one of those, it's like, how could I? How could I? All of the things to potentially... All right. Let's put our game faces on. Get back to video. Oh, yeah. Take it away, beating down Ryan. Oh, wait, hold on.
WRC.
Yeah, hey Jones, Blood in chat. I'm back with another leaderboard run in WRC, which I believe I've heard Blood mention he never got around to. While the series is still lagging behind the Dirt Rally games in my mind, one reason to check it out is because of how well it showcases the drastic improvements the DualSense brings to the experience of playing racing games on a pad. The R2 trigger has tension now, allowing for much finer throttle control, while the L2 will start to bounce as the ABS kicks in, or with ABS turned off, it becomes increasingly solid as the brakes start to lock. All in all, it points to games like F1 or GT7 being a much improved experience on a pad. P.S. These games can sometimes induce motion sickness, so as anyone is sensitive to that, you might want to look away. Yeah. And then, hold on, let me just tell it not to... Don't do anything when you're done.
Don't do that.
Cool. Take it away.
100 right 5, keep in. And left 4 long, keep in.
I don't care if this makes me motion sick. I'm watching the whole thing. Come on, Brian, let's do it.
I think I got another email about this game. I haven't read the email, so I don't want to break any embargoes, but some other news recently announced or soon to be announced on this one.
And right 4 into left 3 short. Into right 3 tightens, bumpy, and left 3 short. Into right 3 short and left 4
The edge of control.
No, it's crazy to see that you're literally turning like the next turn.
Yeah.
It's like I look at the screen, you're going one way. I look at you and you're turning in the total opposite direction.
Right 6 and left 5 over crest.
Crazy.
And left 4 short into flat right 60.
Whoa.
And left 3 into right 3 medium tightens. Into left 3 opens, into flat right tightens. And left 3 keep in.
And
Into right 5 medium.
Oh, that was close. Oh, so good.
4 into right 5. And
Wow.
left 4 over bump 40.
Whoa.
Into right 5 tightens 4 short. Into left 5 very long tightens.
when you're going that fast, but also sideways.
And like he says, very long, meaning like 3 seconds. 3 full seconds. Where you don't have to turn. Whoa.
Yeah.
Right 5, 40. Caution, right 3 tightens. Into left 5, 30. And caution, brake for right 3 short. Into left 3 short. Into flat right tightens, 5, 30. Left 4 short, into right 5. And left 5 short, tightens 3, 30. Left 5 tightens 50. Flat right into finish.
Boom. Sink it. Sink it.
Well, it's funny to me to think, yeah, somebody was mentioning the crazy fans and how close they can be to the track sometimes with all that going on. Well, it's nuts to me.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
Right back at you, buddy.
The
so good.
Is you're putting yourself at that risk just to see the car like go by you. Like you don't really follow like their whole route.
Yeah.
Just zoom, there went.
There's no way. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that was fun. Go back to drinking your hot chocolate or eating your hot dog or whatever. Yeah, Brian. And I love he said there's not a lot of tracks that are under 3 minutes. So not only is he racing to beat the times, he's racing to beat the maximum TRT of every community showcase. And that was an absolutely wonderful submission. Brian, thank you for that. I'm glad we didn't miss that. Okay. I think we're all caught up. Again, thank you to Mr. Daniel Blood for tuning in. Let's can you have us go over and beat up Kyle after we're done with this? Can you facilitate that? Do you Twitch up or that would be rad as I'm like closing all of this stuff down. And I will not be on the group stream tomorrow night because I'm going to be playing Batman Arkham Asylum tonight and hanging out with the Min-Max crew and doing a deepest dive on that. So I will not see you tomorrow night, but we got some other fun streams locked in. We got our schedule. Didn't do Cowboy Jones this morning. We're going to be doing that tomorrow morning. And you can see our schedule on easyallies.com in your time zone if you want to see what else we're doing on their Twitch. But, thanks, everybody, for your contributions. Thank you, as always, for being a part of the Community Showcase. We'll see you next month.
Bye.